Okay, hello and welcome to Baited Expectations. I'm piebypie and I have with me Velyna, KittenCatNoodle and Brittleknee. Echoes of the Atlas and Ritual League has given us so much to discuss. We wanted to get some extra opinions involved and we're delighted to introduce our special guest, SuitSizeSmall. Today's topics include the Echoes expansion changes to the Atlas and multi-boss fights orchestrated by the Maven along with her boss fight, the Ritual Challenge League and previous league content featuring into the core game, and we're going to start with this section first, getting to know SuitSizeSmall better, about lab running, maintaining the PoE Lab website, and cosplay, and whatever surprises we can find out. If you're enjoying the podcast, please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, follow, whatever the verb is that's appropriate to the platform that you're consuming this content from. Make sure that you don't miss out on the next episode. So first, let's catch up with everyone. What build have you been playing and what leagues did you start in, and have you had any rerolls? And we'll start with Suit.
My league start went a lot better than I anticipated. I started off with my lab runner, as I have to do at this point, but I also like doing because I like running lab. Like a crazy person, I did farm Imperial Legacy and Foothills, so I was level 77 before Katava. And that translated quickly into me getting to 80 in maps. Actually, I think I ran Uber Lab at level 79, thanks to the help of chat giving me trials, because trials are terrible. But I was able to start farming lab on the second day, and I went from 70 chaos to 19x, so that was nice. And I've since then have gone and played Detonate Dead and right now Cremation. And I do have another character. I can afford a Headhunter. I don't know if I want to do it. I've never played one before, so I need to figure out what goes into a Headhunter build if I get one. But yeah, I've had a nice league so far.
And for those of us who aren't as familiar with what a lab runner is, would you mind just briefly describing your current lab runner?
Yeah. So there's two different lab runners I have. One is for the regular Uber lab, and the other one's for the 83 labs. My regular lab runner, which I also use to make the lab notes, is just a Toxic Rain Pathfinder that has enough damage for Azaro and enough HP to survive. Well, enough HP, he says, as he gets one shot earlier. But the primary aspect of the character is I've dumped everything into move speed, from the passive tree to the gear. I'm running like 7 League Step. I'm using Phase Run. I'm using Smoke Mine. The character has about 400% move speed at this point. So the whole purpose behind the character is just run through lab as fast as you can, because that's 90% of lab is you're running, so you might as well do as best you can. And so I just run through lab. I have enough damage to take care of Azaro, get my enchant, go again, go again, go again.
Awesome, thanks. We'll come back to that one in a minute. Or let's catch up with everyone else, and we'll start with. We'll come to Velyna. What have you been up to lately in the game?
Well, yelling at Harvest is what I've been up to mainly. I've just been Harvest. Why does add chaos even exist at this point? Listen, I've been playing my Ice Crash character for 2 weeks now. I've been looking for Harvest. All I need to do is add some chaos resist. 2 weeks, none of it. And so that's what I've been up to. Yep. Character's going really great, minus the chaos problem. Like, really, really good. I'm going to fight Maven with this one. The Vortexer killed her. Now this one has to do it.
Did you say Ice Crash? I know it's Ice Crash, but I don't know if I heard the words Ice Crash come out your mouth just then.
Yes, it's my Holopalm Ice Crash build. It's like I changed up a couple. I took an aspect of the spider and added in Supreme Ego with Hatred, and I am just slapping. And it costs me way less money than adding aspects, so I'm like really happy about it.
Cool.
Really quite pleased. I haven't played it since Delirium, and it is yeah, it's really good.
It aged well.
Yes, it has. It really has. Now, if only Chaos. Where are you?
I'm sure you'll find it soon. Brittleknee, how has your league been progressing since we last caught up?
It's been a lot of fun. I'm putting the finishing touches on the Bladefall Blade Blast Hierophant and really excited to write the guide on it. There's not too much left to do beyond like crafting a belt and saving up for a Watcher's Eye. And I recently re-rolled my Caustic Arrow CI Trickster for bossing after eating a couple of reflects that I wasn't prepared for and deciding that's a bullshit mechanic. And
I don't think anyone
I just
disagrees
decided I
there.
didn't like that. So, and it's also a bit easier for farming Chayula and Itzuri for generating the feared invitations. So it's kind of nice to have one character that can handle those things and then another one that can handle the other ones without having to worry about like gear swaps and stuff. Plus, that one can delve like 600 plus. And finished up the spider build and put a video out on that, and maybe Darkness Farmer soon. So lots of stuff in the works and really enjoying my time in the league.
And Noodle, how about you?
Well, it sounds like we should probably swap a list of all of the harvest crafts we're missing, because I'm kind of in a similar boat where I have a staff that's ready, but I need remove attack. Just remove. I don't think that I've ever seen it. Haven't even seen anything besides Reforge with attack so far, which has been a bummer. I'm still playing my Flame Wall Fireball Elementalist, which is going pretty well. Every time I watch Suit, though, I feel super slow afterwards. I'm like, oh, my character is like in molasses right now. But I actually did get a pretty successful harvest craft. I got a hunter amulet with plus to all intelligence skill gems and a warlord amulet with plus to all fire spell skill gems or fire skill gems, and then I smashed them together with an awakener's orb, and I just had to do one keep prefixes, reroll suffixes, and it got like 2 pretty decent resists, and I was like, bam, I actually did a thing, because I've been having this plus 3 fire spell skill gem staff in my stash for weeks at this point. Just like, please find me a remove attack. I just need to remove the attack. And I can put the fire damage overtime multi. But yeah, actually getting one successful like craft, I was like, it's real. It can happen even to people like me. So I actually just did that earlier today. So I spend most of my morning just being like, wee, I do so much more damage now.
I kind of had a similar experience. I don't know why. I've had like the entire kit for low life for my Vortex Occultist. I think I had it for a week. But I was like, I refuse to use it until I can 6-link the shafts. But I was running around like, look at Suit's face.
I've had
You gotta understand, right? I didn't have backups. I didn't have a 5-link craft or a 5-link prophecy or any of that stuff when I was having this problem. And every time I would try and 6-link it, like I'd brick it, run out of fusings. I'm kind of in a solar self-round environment. And if that was to transpire, I was like, I don't think it's doable, right? Like, I can't switch back. So it was like a really bad time of being CI for a bit, but like with really suboptimal gear, something like 5k ES and like 1 life. It's not fun. I don't recommend it at like level 88. No. But I did finally switch over to low life because someone in the private league that I'm in graciously gave me a prophecy, and then I managed to drop a prophecy and get a harvest craft. So now I have 2 backup prophecies and a harvest craft, and I've finally gone to Hillock and gotten 25 qual on the shavs. I'm just trying to build up my pool of fusings to start spamming them again to try and go for that 6-link, but the damage increase was awesome. I think it's sort of like having like a survivability issue in like a mid-tier red maps, because I'm on that like 4 Watchstone rotation level now, but it's not quite perfect. Like Eradicator ruined me, by the way. That was when I found out that, and I'm going to embarrass myself to everyone who watches this or listens to this podcast right now. Vel, I tested your theory about pantheons a little too hard and forgot to kill Shikari during the leveling process. And let me tell you, you can hit level 90 with that missing passive skill point. I did it. It's doable.
You got there.
You don't even need the upgrades.
Was it nice?
That's my point. But yeah,
was it really nice to have that?
Yeah, it's definitely nice when you're trying to do a 4 Watchstone level Al has me, for sure. Like,
Al-Hasmin.
He ruined me before I figured that out, by the way. Like, it was just not fun. It was not good. But yeah, we learned something today. So, don't map while tired. Don't level while tired. You can make some really dire mistakes. Okay, let's move on to some getting to know you SuitSizeSmall questions. So, Suit, when did you first get into PoE and what drew you to it?
I first started playing PoE August 2014. I moved over to PoE after getting very salty in Diablo 3. I was trying to play a Carnival build. For those who played Diablo 3, it requires a specific helmet called Carnival helmet. The only way I was trying to get it was from Rift. This was back when there was just rifting. So I was rifting, spending blood shards, rifting, spending blood shards. And after like 3 months of that and not getting the helmet and seeing like 3 of the helmets in my clan chat, I'm like, I'm not playing this game anymore. I just don't want to play this game anymore. So I moved over to PoE and tried it out, and then I kind of just my soul was lost. I can't find it. I'm still looking for it. It might be in the lab, but it's somewhere in
probably have
PoE.
I'd say if it's got to be anywhere, it's definitely in the lab.
But yeah, I've been playing since 2014, and I just haven't really stopped. Steam has like 10,000 hours clocked for me, but I switched to standalone client like a year or 2 ago, so it's too many.
So you got to the point where you don't want to see the hours anymore. You're like, no, it's fine.
Well, I had to switch off of Steam because it did the dumb thing where in order to patch, I had to re-download the entire game for some reason, or I needed space for the entire game, and it's like I don't want to buy another SSD, so I just moved over to standalone.
Fair.
I moved to the standalone client for Metamorph League, and I really, really like it. I don't know why it took so long to move.
I am a big time advocate for a standalone client. I always tell people, I'm like, you play it on Steam? Get out of there. You don't need to see your hours. You know it's a lot. Okay.
I used to use my stream hours to estimate what my like game played hours were once I switched to the standalone client, but now I play offline as well. It's a whole thing.
Now it's just, it just consumes your like normally I don't like to play off stream because my hands hurt and I don't want to burn out in any way. This league, like every day off stream, literally when I woke up today, might as well just load up the game.
Same. Yeah, I get a weird guilty pleasure out of seeing my hours just in case somebody comes in and they're like, do you even know anything about this game? And I'm like, I would hope so based on this number.
My answer is no. No, I don't.
No.
Like, doesn't matter how many hours I get. I'm still going to be fucking clueless. All right, another question. Rather more of a statement first that leads into a question. Thank you for the amazing resource that is PoE Lab. Can you tell us how it got started and how it's changed over the years?
Sure. First off, thank you very much. Glad I can help with the lab. It was something I kind of just started because I kind of could. When lab got first released, everyone disliked it, and I kind of understood why. But for some reason, I enjoyed it. I liked the idea of if you knew the layout and knew what you're doing, it was instant. You can just go ahead and do it. You're basically just knowledge is power. Hey, I know exactly where to go. I know that exit, that exit, that exit. I know there's a thing here I need to go grab. Let me go fight a Zaro. I just liked. A lot of people found it tedious, but I found enjoyment out of that tedium. Strangely enough, I actually, interestingly enough, I had to look back at this. Ascendency released March 4th of 2016. The first lab notes was March 8th of 2016. And I basically did it 4 days after release, and I haven't stopped.
Wow.
This is a number I am shocked at. Since then, there have been 1,796 different labs, because that's how many days have passed. But we have to combine that for the fact that I started running all of the labs like a year ago. So there's an extra layer to that which I haven't added in. But also, let's not forget, the 3.0 beta had a second set of labs, so I was doing 8 labs a day. trying to take the notes at one point. So I've done probably well over 2,500 different labs at this point. And I've missed 25 of them, I think. So I just haven't stopped. I've gone this far. Doesn't feel like I should stop. But I did originally just start them off by like uploading a file, an image to Imgur and just posting it to Reddit. Eventually, I got contacted by Dan. Some people may well, if you see just the ProLab name anywhere, that's Dan. He operates a lot of the social stuff and operates a lot of the backend stuff. He contacted me, wanted to get a website set up, so I started work with him, get a website set up. None of us are web engineers, so we were just kind of flying by the seat of our pants. Hence, like the first 6 months of growing pains that we had, and like 6 months of basically being in the red of having the site shut down due to finances. But eventually, we got it sorted out. We actually have a system admin now to manage our servers. We've changed the layout many times. I've redesigned the website many times, and we've just been trying to just doing whatever, just maintaining lab and adding to the site as we see fit. Unfortunately, many of the other members have burnt out, but I'm just still here running lab.
Do you ever get new recruits?
SuitSize strong.
SuitSize strong
Say
is
that
so cute.
I didn't hear that question.
Do you ever get like new recruits? So like people putting their hands up and saying, "Hey, I'll join in."
Previously we actually pre 3.0 we actually recruited people to help run the lab notes because before 3.0 all the labs were the same length all the labs were generated the same way, so all of them could be Uber lab length, and that was a lot more time consuming than it is now. But over time people started burning out from running lab notes, so they started dropping off. And after 3.0, when the normal cruel and merciless became a lot shorter, I found it a lot easier to run them myself because I was also able to take the time to do them. And from there on, I kind of just started running all the lab notes on my own.
Okay, awesome. All right, so we kind of have a lot more questions about lab to go through because I don't think we can have you on this podcast without really spending some time on the topic. And I don't know that anyone in the game has a better opinion, like a more well-rounded opinion, I think, than you. Maybe some people who design the game. Maybe those people do.
Maybe.
So let's do this like a really open-ended question. What do you think of the design of lab? Like, if you could make changes to it right now, what would those changes be? Shoot, go. And also, sorry, I would love to hear from the rest of the cast after Suits had his turn.
Well, how about we start with everyone else so I can see if you guys nail some things on my list.
Okay, yeah, let's do that for sure. Who wants to go first? Noodle?
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the things for me in terms of lab is that, like, I don't know, I just find the indoor layouts super easy and the outdoor layouts just drive me insane. And so I would almost like it if there was a way to know beforehand, and maybe there is, what kind of layout it is. In general, not gonna lie, I just use the PoE lab file and put it in Lab Compass, and I just don't worry about anything anymore. So I don't even think about the layout. I don't think I've thought about the layouts in a long time. So like, thanks, Suit. And also, I don't like the escort gauntlet, but that's not really about layouts. That's just like, I'm impatient.
Real quick, I made a face when you mentioned there's a way to tell the difference between indoor and outdoor layout. There is.
Oh yeah.
I made a face because it's been there for years, and I get that question a lot. If you're ever on the PoE Lab website, under the image, there's a green bar that says additional lab information. That's a drop down, and it shows you which rooms are indoor and outdoor.
Oh, but I mean in the lab itself. Not from
yeah,
your
fair.
lovely
Okay.
input and being, the lab lore god.
All right. Vel?
I would like dark shrines outside to be the same as inside dark shrines, where I don't have to do a little tiny mini gauntlet bullshit thing.
Yes.
Just to why? Like, why is it like? Let me just have poison and a couple guys, maybe some devourers are out there. Maybe you gotta hit some levers because, outside. Like that's
love
it. Like
that.
that's really what I would. I overall really like lab too. Like I used to do the hundreds of lab runs for endgame grind all the time. The only time I stopped doing that is when they wanted me to kill like 100 Azaros or something. I said no, that's way too many Azaros. But that's my like one major gripe with it is that outside dark shrines are really dumb, and the one trap with a bunch of spikes and then some saw blades, and you only have like one middle part to when I see that setup, I'm like, I'm dead. I'm just out. I can't. You can barely see ahead of you to know when it's safe to even go, right? So it's just really frustrating. Like when I see it, I'm just like, this is the worst. I'm gonna get hit. I'm probably gonna die. It's awful.
BK?
I have to second the indoor outdoor like side area thing because there's so many times like if I jump into the room on an outdoor one and there's like switches around instead of like kind of being able to see where the dark shrine is and I know I'm gonna have to hit like 3 switches, I'm like I don't want it anyways. I'm gone. Just go to the next one. But I would say like most of my what I want out of lab isn't necessarily in lab itself. I just kind of wish the lab trials were slightly more deterministic. Like there's been some suggestions on the past about being able to put in an offering to get a random trial, kind of like how
Mhm.
I think it was with the fragments, the Azuri fragments. They open up the side
Yep.
areas, and there's been challenges in the past where you had to go visit so many different side areas. And one of the ways to do that was to just chuck fragments in until you got the one that you needed, walk in there, kill the boss, and leave. Um, I feel like that's almost too precise, but some sort of bad luck protection because there's only 6 trials.
Mhm.
So like if you do that, it's going to be super easy just to blast all of your trials, and that kind of nullifies the mechanic entirely. But I don't
I
know,
th-
some sort of bad luck protection or changing the prophecy to more likely give you a trial that you're missing, kind of like how we see on some of these harvest crafts with the map rerolls. I think that would be really cool.
Who was it? It was somebody, one of the, maybe it was Raze or Noogie or Alp, but one of them couldn't get their Uber lab done till 94 because they just never found a trial. Like, they just never found the trial. 94 to get Uber lab done because you just can't find the last trial. It's kind of ridiculous. Another thing, um, if they could change enchants to show like 3 options, that'd be great.
Oh, like unveiling. That would be
Yes.
so nice. Yeah.
Heist went immediately core and kind of ruined my idea for what would become of Lab when PoE 2 came out because I thought it would be really cool if Lab became the place where you put alternate qualities on your gems. Like you'd be able to like stick your gem in there and then possibly re-roll it the way the currency does. And then like everything else would be like, getting the ascendancy points and stuff would be retired from that. And then they're like, nah, Heist, just stick the whole thing in there. Who cares?
We're gonna get
But I
onto
thought that
this heist
would
topic
be a
more.
cool way to like still maintain a lot of value in it, but would kind of allow to dismantle it from being so RNG related and related to your skill points.
Okay, I'm not gonna say mine. We'll just go with Suit.
Why not? Say
I
it.
don't have any good answers to this question. I yield to the power that is other players and GGG.
I hate lab.
Look, I tend to agree with what you're saying, but right now my brain is like,
Stalling.
the main thing that pisses me off is that final trial. There's like no way to force anything, and I don't know. There's a lot of elements of lab that are there that don't force you to interact with them, but like I don't know if there's enough incentive to do those things, like gauntlets and stuff. Maybe that's the comment.
I will say Trials was at the top of my list. That needs to change.
Yeah.
Interesting stat. When Prophecy first released with Uberlab, I wanted to do the Uberlab as soon as I can, or the Uberlab notes as quickly as I could. So I didn't start Prophecy. I went into Standard and tried to get all the trials. I think it's like 273 maps later, I still didn't have all of the trials. And I wasn't clearing them. I was opening the map, running it, trying to find a trial, and leaving. And
Oh
just
my god.
spamming them in standard on my speedrunner at the time. And I just couldn't find the last trial. I got it from global chat, so I did manage to do the lab notes on that first day. But that was not necessary, and that was like 4 hours of just trying to look for something that wouldn't want to show up. A solution, I feel like the easiest one would just make it straight deterministic. Every certain map tier, you're gonna find a trial in a map when you open it up, and you're just gonna go do that trial, just to make sure that once you hit like tier 10s, tier 10 is gonna be your last trial that you need before you go to Uberlab. Then you're ready for red maps or something like that. Just actually dole it out at a specific rate, just so we're not getting stuck at level 94 without an Uberlab trial. But something you mentioned something that I did not think about, and that is the fact that the side areas are different outside than inside.
Mhm.
I did not think about that. I did not think about the fact that the domain areas have all those levers or the switches you have to click. Maybe because my character is fast enough that I'd never noticed it. It's like, oh, there's 3 levers. I'm good. I'm good. But that is something I did not even think about, and I wonder why it's like that. Because every single indoor area is you hit the lever, you go down the tiny hallway, and you're done.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Like,
it's so easy.
like there is one outdoor layout where you hit it and it's just a big square with nothing but the dark shrine in the middle, and that's it. And it's like, why aren't all of them like that?
Mhm.
Yeah.
What else is on my list? The get rid of the guest gauntlet, just delete it.
Yeah.
Just delete it, move on. The second most important thing this is not really that important. It's just very nice. For the love of God, make Azaro leave. Just make him leave,
Yes.
please.
Oh
Why can
my
he do like
god.
3 attacks when he's already at the bottom of his phase? He's like, well, I just gotta finish this really quick.
It's
Like,
determined
Hold
by
on.
the stuff on the floor opening or closing, depending on if there's like it can't like cut off the
Yeah.
animation. So the little
Oh.
statues have to rise all the way up. So if they start their ascent and he dies, it still has to finish its ascent and then go back down. Like it's the way
Oh
it's
my god.
programmed.
Yep.
Oh, that makes sense. I still don't like it.
No.
Yep. That's
But I
why
never
speedrunners can animation skip Azaro, because when the fight starts, there's a fraction of a second before that first one starts rising. If you can one shot him in that window, he just immediately leaves because the animation doesn't start. So it's how
Game changer.
speedrunners save so much time, because they don't need to wait for any of those animations. He's just dead the moment
Yeah.
the moment he starts.
Wow.
Okay. There's a lot of stuff there.
Go.
Did you have more? Did you have more?
I have other things to talk about.
Go.
Well, BK mentioned something that I've suggested multiple times about the enchants. With PoE 2 and the new gem system, with significant rarity rebalance, can we just put the enchants on the gem?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, just take it off the helmets, just put it on the gem. Because now just think about like an alt quality gem with an enchant level 21, 23.
That
Like-
seems unethical. I like it.
This also fixes the problem of useless enchants.
Right.
Right? Like, hey,
Yeah.
sigil power. It has some nice enchants. Don't want to use it because my cremation enchant is better. Well, if I can just enchant the gems, I can use an enchant for every single gem. I can use every single enchant available.
Wouldn't that be too OP? Like, wouldn't they just restrict
Maybe
us to one
stat
enchant?
reductions. Like so instead of it being like a huge mana reserve for something like Wrath, it would just be like 3 to 4 off. And then if you have multiple auras, you get that cascading sort of mana reduction. Like I can see where it exists, but it would have to be seriously like tuned down because not only are we getting multiple gem setups, we're getting multiple links per gem because of the new socketing system. But I
was just
like
about
it.
to
I like it
say.
as the implementation, but it would have to be downscaled immensely.
yeah.
But then it also allows for like super niche things. Like if you like the way, if you go for, alternate quality dash that has phasing and then you put the enchant on it that's got the extra dash, then that just becomes really cool. So it allows for even more customization in the way that alternate quality already brings to the table.
I said that would be too OP, but then I remember that they're giving us like 6 links for days in Vogue too.
Yeah,
So I'm like,
exactly.
never mind, actually, never
Everything
mind.
gets 6 links.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
gonna be some balancing.
Yeah,
There has
well,
to be, right?
this actually kind of brings up a bit of a discussion. What should enchants be? Should enchants be like a little thing to top off your build, or something that is build enabling, that is kind of required, right?
I don't think
Because
they should ever be
40% damage is
build-enabling.
nice, but like 2 additional projectiles, extra cremation geyser, reduced duration on certain enchants, like they're straight build enabling.
Yeah, and some of them more so than others. Like mine is caustic arrow damage, cool. But then extra cremation, or the extra when volatile dead first came out, and they were like 2 extra corpse. Oh wait, just 1. Sorry. Like
Never
we've had
forget
some. There are some that are just almost like you have to have them baseline, or the build feels crappy. And then there's other where it's like, maybe I'll run lab, and if I get it, fantastic. If I don't, oh well. Or maybe I'll just use this other one instead because the one for my main skill gem isn't that great.
Mm-hmm.
It's basically what Vortex feels like, but I know Lightning Arrow, like you want that additional arrow for sure, without
Yeah,
question.
in Scourge Arrow, you want that extra pod. That is a massive DPS multiplier.
Mhm. Oh my god, why is the camera doing this? Sorry,
Yeah,
I just
I feel like if the
I don't know.
enchants were on the gems, because potentially you could have an enchant on all of the skill gems that you're using, it would probably not be able to be as powerful or even as build enabling. There would probably have to be some other method that would give the kind of things like additional arrow or additional volatile dead, the things that are a little bit more extreme than like increased damage or increased AoE or all of those kind of things, unless it was very, very difficult to get those enchants, right? And then it could still be the build enabling type, but then you also still have them on all your gems. I think it's really cool. It's making my brain kind of overwork a little bit, but I like it.
Yeah, I guess the
Yeah.
other side of that too would be like, do you then take out those more, I guess, build enabling ones, because we're going to get all these different ascendancies that may enable certain builds the way Deadeye does because of her being like a projectile specialist. Maybe some of these other ascendancies will then be able to like kind of fill in if they remove some of that more, more
Yeah.
important. I don't want to say important, but the more build enabling things.
They could also potentially end up being a little bit more creative if you're allowed to make enchants per gem rather than this blanket, like everything gets 40% damage, these get this global AoE, or these get this duration. Like you can look at a single gem and say, okay, what would be interesting mechanic wise change with it? Granted, they did that a little bit with alt quality gems, but perhaps an enchant could take it to a different direction. But
Yeah,
that does
like
kind of bleed into maybe potentially creating required enchants. But perhaps those enchants are just more common.
one of my dreams
Massive
has
rarity
been
rebounds.
a threshold jewel or something like that to convert, because for SRS, so SRS starts as fizz and then converts partial bit to fire. So like gem enchants that change what it converts into. That would be cool.
Oh, that's not a bad
So you
idea.
can have it like convert into cold, half into cold instead, and then do the rest of it with triad or something. Stuff like that would be really cool.
Yeah, I like those more kind of not as straightforward changes that could make like a really unique version of a build or skill that you've already tried before. That's just more like actually changes what it's doing in ways. That's always fun.
Yeah, that's why I have a big like soft spot in my heart for all those sorts of threshold sort of things that change the way, like Cold Archmage is one of my favorite things, even though I have yet to try it and I really want to. But like stuff like that changes just the core idea of something, but different is just I don't know.
I forgot that was an alt quality. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really neat.
Okay. I'm gonna circle
Hi, the
back to the
camera
next
got
one and we'll
scuffed a
come
little.
back.
I'm so sorry.
Huh?
I closed mine to fix the light, and I think look at it, it got scuffed.
Oh, it did. It got really scuffed, didn't it?
It got insanely scuffed, and I was like, oh no.
I just looked
Oh,
over
no.
and I see the overlay.
Yeah.
Nope. I'll fix it very quickly.
All right. I'm
Um,
sorry. I was trying to fix the weird green thing that just started happening out of nowhere. I'm like, why is
Okay.
It's
So
just
sorry.
an alien abduction. Let it happen. It'll be fine.
Oh, I wish they just told me first.
It is Oh, have you got more on your list?
Well, the last thing is I don't know. I guess someone did mention the idea that the side things are very unappealing. Well, unfortunately, the only unappealing thing is Argus, and that feels terrible.
Really?
But in terms of, well, Argus always has a key. He's always
Yeah.
has a key.
He's just a sad boy locked in a room. His
know.
master never comes and sees him and just gave him a key for us to kill. It's very rude, actually.
He's just a good boy. Why would you do him like that, Azaro?
I still curse at whoever at GG decided to give him the friendship card. Why?
Yeah.
Why would
feels
you do
bad.
that?
Feels bad.
But
man.
He's like, killed my boy. I didn't want to.
ever since 3.0, no one does silver doors anymore because they're just not worth it.
No.
Yeah.
Like previously, there was the intricate locker, which guaranteed a lab unique, and people were actually waiting for those guaranteed lab uniques because you can just spam for death's door. But
Mhm.
now it's just at the whim of the lab RNG to try to get death's door. So I don't know how they would change the silver doors
Take him
because
out.
they. Well, that is definitely an option. Just take out the entirety of the lab while you're at it. Okay, everything's bad.
Yeah.
Maybe
Wait.
like mini safe house them, but then lower the rewards. Like randomize some certain things. Like you put one, and it's like it spits out a bunch of prophecies and coins and stuff. Or you hit another one, and it's like here's some oils and a blighted map, and
That
that
actually, I
might
didn't think
actually
about that.
pull people in.
I've always complained of the fact that the lab loot has not changed since I don't think it's actually changed ever. The only really thing that got added to lab at some point was div cards, but since then it still drops like currency, quality currency, random rare junk, 84 bases, fragments, corrupted items, div cards, gems, which they nerfed hilariously enough.
Yeah.
But that hasn't changed since the lab was released, if memory serves right. And that has caused lab to fall behind due to the fact that it lacks splinters, lacks scarabs, it
Mhm.
lacks oils, it lacks all these new league stuff. The silver doors could definitely be a way to add those back in. I know they didn't necessarily they randomized the loot because they didn't necessarily like the whole intricate locker days, but I kind of feel like that was a better idea than the randomized loot where no one wants to grab it.
Yeah.
Like it would also be kind of interesting for me to like be mapping out the labs. Like, oh, that silver door has this box, which is oils. Do you want some oils today? Run this a few times.
Like it.
Well, maybe okay. Perhaps spamming one room over and over is powerful. Maybe they could do the dark shrine thing where there's a pool that
There's a
rotates
chance.
between each area. So there's one of the four
Yeah.
doors is gonna have an oil box. You just gotta check each of the doors.
I think didn't Chris say during Exile Con or something that they wanted to do something with lab, but at this point, like, didn't they say like it just kind of fell out of relevancy or something? Like they wanted to bring, but it's just kind of they I think they said it like along the same lines as the pantheons. Like some people don't even know about the pantheons existing kind of thing. People just don't really run lab anymore. They don't know about the lab. Like nobody but a couple dudes. I think it's actually just one dude gets any of the mastery gems, the Emperor's mastery, etc. Like there's one guy that is a Gamazer. Yeah, you know all about
We're
this
going there.
guy.
We're going there.
Oh,
Yeah,
I'm going there because like you don't even get to see those jewels, dude. You know, it's like stupid. Sorry, go on. Tell me.
yeah. I always hesitate to talk about the lab ladder because it's controversial. Everyone, it's the first position is controversial considering that the person who's held there's like Vel said, there's pretty much like one or two guys that have held the top position since forever.
Mhm.
And that person has been banned like twice now.
Mm.
So that is already kind of sketchy. And the fact that it's so hard to knock that one person off the top of the leaderboard, it just creates a weird little microcosm of terrible in the game between like 20 people, surprisingly. I have two speedrunners who actually push the ladder every now and then in my chat, and it's a world of difference between what they do and what I do. And like legitimately, earlier I said my lab runner burns at 400% move speed. They the evolution of the move speed build went from 400 to 600 to 800 to reverse chilling yourself to give yourself increased action speed to now give yourself perma berserk for more movement speed. How fast can you do the lab? Under 2 minutes.
Oh,
Dang.
Yeah,
how
like
do you move without just hitting walls?
Right?
a
It'd
lot,
just be
a
like
lot of practice.
pinball.
Just walls, wall.
I can barely
Yeah,
control
it's
myself with Headhunter. I couldn't imagine that.
Yeah, and whenever I get a move shrine, I'm like, ah! Like, just feel like I'm just going crazy. I can't imagine.
I can't pick anything up. I'm too fast.
Mhm.
imagine that move
Yeah.
speed entering the dungeon lab and having to open 5 doors.
Oh,
I can't even click them normally. I don't know what you're talking
yeah,
about.
yeah, exactly.
Like my cruising 120, I can't manage it. So
There
Yeah.
have been moments where on my character I get an acceleration shrine and I need to hit a lever to open a gold door, and I click like left and right, then left and right, then left and right, because it just moves around faster than I anticipate. It's like, okay, hold on, I need to stop, walk backwards, and walk forward. Okay, we're good.
I
But
think you
just
know what'd be really good is if they put those Emperor Masteries and things like that in silvers that have like a 1% drop rate or something like that, and silver doors, silver key, whatever, you know what I mean? The chest.
I'm
Because those, it's completely and utterly unfair if you could actually never compete with cheaters. Like, they're just
the,
making money every day, RMTing their jewels. Well, you're like, oh, this costs 10x. Oh, and he has all of them. Well,
the fact that to compete you also need good internet so you don't desync or
Mhm.
lag, but also RAM load PoE to make sure you have 0 load screens. Like there's an additional level that people have pushed this to the point where it's like, I don't know how they're gonna try to change that, or if they
Mhm.
want to change that, or well, they probably should change it because considering it's this weird little area of the game that's not really like good for the game, I would say. But
Yeah.
I really wish when I was in New Zealand, I asked Eric about that because I did ask him about what the plans for Lab and Pee-wee 2 were, but I'm not a people person, so I panicked, and that was the only question I asked him.
And he's like, I don't know. And you're like, okay.
Well, the
Oh man.
yeah, I did actually get a response from him in terms of what they're doing with PoE and or what they're doing with PoE and Lab. Wow, what they're doing with Lab and PoE 2. At the time, they said the reason we didn't see it in the reveals is because they didn't have time to work on it. And when in terms of re-implementing it, the answer was they don't know. They honestly legitimately don't know because there's many other things to worry about at this point. So the fate of Lab is kind of up in the air.
Hmm.
They did say there will probably move Ascendencies out, so after that happens, no idea. Well, if they do that, no idea what's going to happen.
yeah, they've got I
that
mean,
is
I
the
think
next
it
question.
existing as like a farming area or something, but like, how do you incentivize it? Considering there's unique rewards tied to certain leagues, but almost every league drops everything now. Like you can get
Yeah.
oils and all this other kind of stuff in the rituals as well as ritual bases and so on and so forth. So I don't know, maybe they have to create some sort of like, will enchants be enough
It'd be
to
great
keep
Yeah.
people going back?
is if they turned lab into like what reliquary keys are now. But instead made it like a labyrinth where you can get a legacy item or something. Like that would make it really spicy for Po2. If the legacy items are even good, you just get a calm sign or calm sign and get sad, like, oh. Oh, I got a level 1 ring, very nice.
Are there so many
But
ones like Hyries that are worse in their legacy version? It's like instead of 200 cold, I have 20. Thanks.
20, yay. Yeah, yeah. But I mean, that could be one way that they like, because Death Doors, there are a couple lab things that are really quite nice, but it's not enough to, it's not enough to make you go for it. Not really,
Yeah,
especially
not a
in
good enough
Po2.
reason on its own to do lab for
Mhm.
most
Uh,
people.
yeah,
Yeah.
I did see the question about. I think Tarky asked a question. If it was easier to get the Master Jewels, would those jewels still be worth farming for Lab? Those jewels are incredibly niche, so I think the answer would be no. Most of the jewels are a % damage increase and a % attribute increase, and then like a character reduction or a character size increase, one of those. So some characters can use them if you want like % all attributes, but the jewels themselves were supposed to more or less be a trophy situation until one person got all of them. So if you need to use them for each purpose, then well, you're kind of SOL.
Okay. I have a shit ton more questions, so I don't know how this is going to go. We've got a lot more to cover. Let's come back to that one and go just on the lab that we currently live with. What's the luckiest lab layout you've ever seen?
Oh, I knew I forgot to do something before today. I have all of the images, and I'm not gonna scroll through them on stream because that would take way too much time. There has definitely been a 6-room lab with all the dark shrines along the main path, and that's fantastic because that's just really fast, and you're gonna get that extra enchant. Possibly get that extra enchant. We've had 4 or 5 good labs this league already. The second, as mentioned, I farmed on the second day. It was straight 6 rooms, only 2 dark shrines, which is fine if you're just going fast. I don't have any specific lab off the top of my head. You know what? Hold on. Morbid curiosity. How many images are in this folder?
Yeah.
Let's see.
Does
These
it
are
have-
all.
Is that one for like every lab or just every day?
It's a mix of. I basically have every single lab. The lab notes for every single lab still on my PC. This is all the Uber labs, most of the Merciless lab, most of the Cruel labs, most of the normal labs when I started running them. My PC is not letting me highlight all for some reason. Probably because it's still loading.
That's just how many pictures are in it. It's like, I can't think that hard right now.
6,815.
You mad lad. What in the world?
Fuck? That's
Oh, right. Take note that this is also the point of interest. So that the secondary image I mentioned that shows indoor-outdoor layouts also shows spawn locations for the dark shrines and things, so that doubles up the images as well.
May.
Yeah, but I have 6,000 images of lab.
That's a lot.
I should probably back that up somewhere.
How big is it?
It's a piece of PoE history. I think you should.
That's a good question. How big is this folder? I don't know. Funnily enough, before I but this is a 4 GB folder. Great.
Yeah, I was like, I don't know if you can just whack that on like a spare Google Drive if it's like several gigabytes and you only get 15 for free.
I was looking around my room to see if I can find it, but I think I may have thrown it out, which is a shame. We actually a programmer actually contacted us a while back, or like years ago at this point. He volunteered to make a program to help me make the images faster. Previously, I would take a screenshot in game, bring it to like a Photoshop layer, and just start drawing over it. He developed a program where I can just kind of upload the image and it'll auto generate the exits as long as I manually mark the exits in the program. So that's really nice. Before that, and before the Photoshop, or when I was doing the Photoshop stuff, I was drawing the layouts by hand to take the notes. I legitimately had like a stack of notebook paper this thick of just me drawing layouts.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, because I couldn't take notes into Photoshop Live because it was annoying. So I would just sketch the layout as I was running it on a piece of paper and then redrawing it in Photoshop. I wish I had this stack of paper, but I think I threw it out.
Oh man, yeah, that's just the level of dedication I appreciate and do not understand. Like, thank goodness for you, Suit, because what in the world?
There's a minor amount of insanity that applies to this, so I don't blame you.
It's not the same, but I do have a notebook with like handwritten build guide.
Oh man. It's like The only thing I used to get that insane about was like cheat codes for GTA and or like writing down, okay, I beat this level in Mortal Kombat. Now I have to write down this code so I can get back here again. Like that's it.
Oh man,
That's
those
really
old.
it.
Yeah, I remember
Yeah,
that.
yeah. You're like, okay, I
I
gotta write this down. I didn't
Yep.
see. I
actually,
missed it.
Skip codes, man. God, I'm
Yeah.
fucking old.
Yeah, you needed those it was very, very important. But that's like really it. I'm like I had notebooks full. I remember when playing Oblivion on PC and writing down all like I need iron ingots. All right, 000 F00 121 like whatever. Right? Couldn't just need to
I
cheat these in.
I actually legit did that recently with Resident Evil 2, the remake. Because if the codes work for every subsequent playthrough, so one playthrough I
Mhm.
just took notes for the entire run, locations where objects were and where I needed to go. So then when I did the next one, I was like, oh, my 10 hours turned into 2. I was just
That's
zipping around reusing codes, not having to look at images.
Yeah, exactly. Because it's all like riddles and like maybe this code
Yeah,
will
it's like,
work
oh, I
this
know the
time.
solution because I wrote it down. Hey, it's
Mhm.
convenient.
Man, I wish I could see that stack of lab note.
It literally is just like breaking a notebook paper into 4 horizontal sections, and each section just being like a rough sketch of a bunch of circles with lines connecting them. And then off to the side, writing like room 1, Dark Shrine, room 3, Trap Gauntlet, Argus, room 5, Argus. And Zaro has 2-handed mace and has these phases. Just I'm so disappointed I couldn't find them. I really hope I didn't throw them out.
A thought
That's
that
a
a thought that occurs to me on the note of Azaro as a boss, like I don't know that his fight's perfectly designed, but I don't. Are there other bosses that have like phases that could be different? I don't think any of our other bosses have like a variable on the phases. I don't know if that design should be like considered for future boss design.
I
Constrictor
feel like
kind of does it depending on the area he spawns in, or I guess all the Elder Guardians have a little bit stuff like that
Oh,
depending on the
that's
area they
true. I
spawn in.
never thought of it like that. Yeah, but depending on their arena, their abilities can or their like add-ons sort of change.
yeah. Yeah,
Like
they do. They
sometimes you have like the
generally
flame turrets, or you have the volatiles for Enslaver, and then with
The
Constrictor, like
Calm
Suit said,
projectiles.
yeah.
Mhm.
Or you can have like the little slow cold dot things that follow you around.
I would say that Katava doesn't put up his ball of garbage until like the first time you take out his heart. Usually, I've never seen it until that time.
Yeah, but that's
Until
like
Yeah, but they're
phased,
still
isn't
drawing
it?
from the same pool of
they
potential
are.
Yeah.
things each time.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah, it doesn't really change up like that. Hmm.
So as annoying as he is, there's some cool
Yeah, it's
things
actually
there that
pretty neat.
haven't
Yeah.
been really reproduced in the same kind of way.
I find it interesting that Izaro is actually like a really straightforward fight, considering a lot of his attacks are either auto attacks or very telegraphed attacks. But he is also one of those bosses you absolutely have to respect, because if you stop focusing for a moment, you're gone. You're gone. Like I mentioned earlier, I did actually die while doing lab notes today, because for whatever reason I just stopped looking at the screen and Izaro just 2-handed slammed me. I was like, oh, well, that happened. I actually died while doing an 83 lab earlier because I dodged. He did the sword wave. I dodged to the side. I stuck too close to him, and I keep forgetting his sword has a hitbox, so his backswing hit me and killed me.
Oh my god.
Yeah, so it's like, yeah, he is a straightforward fight, but if you still have to respect his mechanics, he can still just one tap you if you're not
Yeah.
careful and not paying attention.
Absolutely.
I wish his I it sounds ridiculous. I wish that I had slightly more room in the arena because sometimes you play one of those nice big juicy AoE builds and it's like you want to farm all the keys
Yeah.
but you accidentally kill his bros by mistake.
Burning around him, especially at the end, if you need to be far away from him with the like little rolly logs, I don't know, spiky logs, you're like, oh no, I need to be not in his face and there's nowhere for me to be.
Actually nowhere.
I love that my cremation is so big that it's gonna hit that reflect lieutenant way over there.
Oh
Mhm.
no,
Yeah.
the reflect. You see him put up the reflect. Don't you know?
I still my most hilarious death was I played Brand once and I killed Azaro. My brands were on the ground. I went to go ascend, Cold Lieutenant picked it up. I died in the next room.
In the next room.
I died in the next room because
That's-
his reflect was up and he picked up my brand.
That's
You can't even escape reflect by leaving the room.
It's because it's still technically in the same area. You don't do a full
Right,
load
yeah.
screen to get to the treasure
Yeah,
room. So
yeah.
I just
Yeah.
walked off. And it's like, why am I taking damage? Oh,
Oh, wow.
That's impressive.
that's awful.
Honestly. That's great. I mean, terrible.
I mean, it's terribly great and awful.
it's
just-
one of those
those-
moments where it's
yeah.
oh, I have to do lab again, but that was funny.
yeah, you gotta laugh at that. You're just like, wow. Bravo, Zara. Bravo, killing me from the grave.
Like, oh, you got me. You got me.
Yeah.
Is our
Oh,
bro
man.
killed you?
I've killed him plenty of times from the grave. It's fine that he got me back once.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Okay. What's one of the best drops that you've ever gotten in a single lab run? Like,
Okay, chat.
mm-hmm.
Chat's gonna roast me if I don't talk about what I did yesterday in lab.
Okay.
Yesterday in lab, I landed a hatred reservation. I landed a zealotry reservation. I landed a natural instinct drop,
Oh,
and then I got a blade vortex duration enchant on an I level 86
Oh.
uninfluenced helmet, which is 35 exalts,
Nice.
all in a single
Snap.
day. All in a single day.
Well
holy
done.
snap.
Yeah, yesterday was really nice. I think that might be one of the best things that's happened of recent memory. Another funny thing that happened was, if you get a Dark Shrine, Azara can drop a random unique.
Mhm.
I got one in Merciless Lab because I just grabbed the Dark Shrine for some reason, and someone in chat is like, if it's a Calms, it's mine. It's like, it's not gonna be a Calms. He didn't drop a Calms, but the boxes in the next room did drop a Calms in Merciless Lab.
Nice.
So it's
my
like, oh
God.
well.
Well
Um,
then.
I saw a comment from Nini in chat saying I need to casually get myself that kind of RNG and I would raise you, like 6,000 plus lab runs. Your
Listen,
RNG is gonna hit
I've-
at some point, right?
I feel like one quantity of lab definitely helps. The more you do lab, eventually you're gonna hit something. But I also feel like maybe it's because I'm the only one doing lab. Everyone's RNG is just piling into me, and it's like I'm just gonna get all the enchants.
It's true.
The funnel.
I
No
don't
one's
think
using
focus
that RNG.
line.
I'll take it.
Yeah.
I'll gladly
Yeah.
use it.
Take my RNG.
I think this league might actually be one of my better lab leagues because previously I usually make like 10 to 20 exalts, but like I said, day 2 I was up to 19 just from doing
Damn.
those labs, and now I'm at 96 preparing for a headhunter, and I have no idea how to use a headhunter, so that's gonna be fun.
You put it on and then you come on and slam. Just whatever you do. I mean, if you want to go crazy with the recursy, no, I don't know how to do that because I don't do that either.
I could have done that, but I sold that enchant. I did get a temp chains curse effect at some point.
Ooh.
I think that was like 9 exalts on a hubris, I believe.
Oh.
I've had some dumb enchant luck this league. I've had some really dumb enchant luck this league.
Deserved. Honestly. The best I got was reduced pride on an alpha's howl. Guess who nobody used pride on an alpha's. It sold for 2x, so I mean somebody's using it, but it's not that much. It's the best I got.
I definitely have like 9 one exalted enchants listed right now because I just like I don't want to enchant over them. They're the best enchant for this enchant. Someone's gonna use it at some point. I'm not gonna play Wintertide, but someone might.
You got the niche stuff, which honestly you could probably sell for even more, but you have to sit on it for a while. It's like a pawn shop, right? I got this. It's
Well-
taking up inventory space, but it's real niche. It's a collector's edition.
I permanently have a tab where I just put an enchant in and it searches all Hubrises. So many niche enchants are just like, it starts off at like 20 chaos for like 9 days ago, then like 30x for 15 days ago. It's like, oh gosh.
Oh.
Like someone might use that. Someone probably won't though.
What's the worst thing you got during lab?
Oh yeah.
Pain and misery.
Yeah, right.
It's hard to say what the worst thing I gotten from lab because I've seen all of it at this point.
Yeah.
I feel like I've gone through nearly every single enchant in the game, as well as every single Oh, actually, the worst thing started happening this league, I believe. I didn't. I because I was busy making cosplay things, I did not get a chance to read the patch notes. Apparently, in the patch notes, there was a statement about how map reward boxes scale to your atlas or something like that.
Yeah.
So if you're so if you're delving, you get a map box, you're gonna get yellow maps. That's your atlases. I didn't know that. I had not done a single red map, and I went into lab, and I had gotten a bunch of map chests during that first day of lab farming. The way it works in lab isn't that the box will drop the maps of your tier of your atlas. It won't drop the maps that you can't get. So I legit would open a box and 2 yellow maps would drop. Or I open a box and 1 unique map would drop of like tier 2. And it's like, did they really have to nerf the lab again? Because I know if they want us to not skip from yellow to red, that's fine. Because I usually do that when I just get enough tier 11s to skip red to red maps. But that's just turned off at this point if I'm not far enough in my atlas, so it doesn't feel good and it's not compensated for. It's not like the box is giving me the equivalent in terms of yellow maps. This is not dropping maps.
And it's not like the lab farmers were getting some sort of crazy advantage by having some reds.
Yeah.
Like you're giving up your normal progression just to have and you're getting a little bit of like a map base back in addition to something to sell.
Yeah.
Like I I don't mean to belittle the effort you have, but like the 20 people doing lab on day 1 isn't enough to destabilize the economy. So the fact that they remove that is the ability for you to kind of like jumpstart. And I look at it more like an insurance policy, right? So like you're spending your time there and it's taking care of you by providing this resource that you'll have in turn when you get there. And now it doesn't do that.
Yeah, it was nice to be able to, because I have a lab runner and a mapper. It was always nice that my lab runner could feed into my mapper.
Right.
Like even though they're only tier 11s to 13, it's still nice to have some red maps to run. But now I gotta make sure I've done enough watchstones to make sure I can do that, which means I have to map. And mapping on the lab runner is not a fun experience because I get to tier 10 and things slow way down. All my points are in move speed. I don't have damage.
Right.
I can run through the map real fast, but when I get to that boss, you'll probably catch up to me.
Noodle, did you want to ask your question?
Oh, sure. Yeah. Now that Harvest has come back and we can get the upgraded tributes, which one is your favorite? And just in general, do you like them? Do you think that that's a good way to maybe get people into lab, or is it more fun or anything like that?
The answer has to be the gift offering, because there's 3 labs. There's the dedication, tribute, and gift. Each of them provide a different reward. Dedication is belt enchants, most of which are kind of eh. The tribute gives better chests, which are good, but you have to deal with the buff to Zaro, in addition to the 83, which is not fun. And gift is 6 enchants. 6 additional enchants, sorry. So that's 7 enchants at base, 8 with twice enchanted, 9 if you get the Dark Shrine. It's hard to beat that as a good lab.
Yeah.
So I do like it as in addition to the game, but also it actually kind of provided it actually kind of provided an interesting data point related to the whole, what if we just showed 3 enchants like Jun, right?
Right.
That's
Yeah.
everyone's like solution to the enchant system. Well, show 3 enchants like Jun. Well, now you have 9. Does it help? Absolutely. Is it going to fix the problem? Not at all. Not at all. Every
No.
league we're getting more and more enchants. This is still a growing
Yeah.
problem. So I like it. It's really good for farming. It's not going to fix our problem in the long run. So
And there's so many useless enchants.
Yeah, like LA res for certain minions. Like I
Yeah.
think there's LA res for golems when golems can be immune to, or used to be able to be immune to reflect. I don't know. There's a lot
The
of
am-
silly things.
the amount of times I've
Things
seen
that-
Devouring Totem.
Yeah.
Devouring
What? You don't want to buff your
Conversion
devouring
trap.
What about your rejuvenation totem? It's trying its best, you know. Yeah, there's just isn't there over 800 enchants now?
I
Like 900?
I have not kept up, which is there's an enchant page
I
in
mean,
Piebypie Lab that I
honestly.
update and I haven't updated in like 3 weeks
Shh.
because there's too many. There's so many. There's so many. I just haven't
There
kept
is.
up with it.
No, there's way too many. I mean, at least this league they only added 1 support and 1 new skill, but still, like, does Hydrosphere now have 3 different? I haven't actually looked yet. Does it have like 3 different lab enchants? And are
Yes.
any of them even worth it? Probably is. Probably
There's
one's worth it.
Hydrosphere damage. Drench reduces another 6% res and pulse frequency.
I got the
Pulse
damage
frequency is
one.
probably the
I wanted to try it.
dank one. Yeah, the pulse frequency is probably the dank one, and the other 2 are just like,
Yeah.
maybe.
If you get it, use it, but you want that pulse frequency.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, why didn't you just give us 2, 1? Like, the good one. Give us the good one.
Put it on the gym. Put it on the gym, so I'm gonna use it.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. Maybe that's
really
it. Maybe they
taken with that.
do instead. You get a you get a gem. So maybe instead you go to the end of lab and then you can enchant your gem and then hope it just lands on the right one.
Yeah, because then it's a much smaller pool for each one. You could even potentially add more different ones for each one in that case, and it wouldn't matter that it's a giant pool of all the existing ones because you're only going to get the ones related to the gem you're enchanting. It would be much better.
Yeah,
Would that still need a massive rarity rebalance?
Yeah, absolutely.
You don't want to roll extra projectile like 5 times.
Are we
True.
sure?
Or maybe.
Or maybe I have
But what
20
if yes?
projectiles. Yeah.
Instead of no, what if yes?
I will gladly finally have my smoke mine enchant. It's 30% move speed. I need it on my Devotos.
I mean, that's really good. That'd be really nice. How much are those normally?
I never look. I never look because I get lazy with my my lab runner. It's at 400% move speed. It's like I'm good. I could take it to 600, or I could roll another build.
Roll the other build.
Yeah.
Someone says 261 Uber helmet enchants.
Wait,
Or
no,
60,
you,
yeah,
you
600.
just
That's
dyslexic
about
that.
500
That's
too many.
621.
Well, yeah, wow.
I mean, what am I gonna do with like, I don't know, bear trap enchants? Honestly. Like, get rid of them. Every one of them. I don't even bear trap, you know what? Throw it in the ground. Okay, I know bear traps immobilize and it's good, but throw it out.
Bear trap is actually somewhat legitimate as an ignite.
I know. It's actually
Like,
like,
did you
it's a
see that
legit
video?
'cause you
It's
could
so
immobilize.
funny.
It's actually pretty. I remember. I feel very strongly that I used bear trap as a secondary skill when there was only like 3 acts and it was really bomb, and then they broke it and it was never good again or something. But I don't think it was ever actually good. I think I just have rose-colored glasses, and I was like, I swear it was great, but I don't think it was.
This is actually kind of funny. Because of Maven, Frostbomb cooldowns 2 exalts on Hubris.
Oh, yeah.
Because Frostbomb is used to counteract her regen.
No.
So people get cooled out. Apparently some people actually get cooldown on it.
Nice.
Oh,
Huh.
damn.
Huh.
Yeah, it's like I landed and it's like, do people use Frostbomb cooldown? I looked, I was like, why is this 2 exalts?
That Maven buff, man. I remember
Some
being
people
on
are
a
tired of
5
some
link.
bullshit.
It is some bullshit. It is.
You gotta
Oh,
draw it
yeah.
out too. That's
I
bullshit.
did a shaper
That's
fight
so
with
good.
Maven, and I swear every time in the last phase, it happened at least twice, maybe 3 times. He was almost dead. She's like, "Life prolong." And I'm like, "Not again. Stop it."
Please. Oh no. Do you think they're gonna nerf Frostbomb because it's too OP now?
I hope not.
No, they'll
Come
just buff Maven.
on. Yeah.
Oh,
exactly.
please don't. Please don't. Did you? I hate her. It's not even her that I hate. It's the mini bosses. It's the mini bitches. You know, I got two Rigwalds side by side who both just decided to ghost wolf me in the middle.
Oh.
There was nowhere to go.
This is a wolf sandwich.
That's such
They're
a
just
There's
like-
a giant cascade of pain.
That is a
Velyna,
Yeah,
that
and I'm
hurts.
like, was I supposed to log out? Was I supposed to get 2 Rigwalds? What was I supposed to do? I don't know what the answer. I'm still searching for the answer.
Meditating, going
I
on
feel
long
like the answer
walks.
is just reviving town. That's probably the best answer.
That's really it.
Right.
That's really the answer. It's just reviving and saying, you know what, I'll kill one of these wolves next time. Yeah, the
I
Maven.
the first
Go
time I
ahead.
fought shaped Maven, it was defense, so it took so long to kill, but it was
Mhm.
also the vines. And Maven has the best worst timing. Because it's like, oh, Shaper is about to slam. Let me start my shield charge, Vine. And then he would just hit me. Because I'm slowed down. I can't and I'm stuck in the animation.
Oh no.
Please.
She also got me with Rigwald. She did the double of him while he's in his blood wolf form. So
Oh
I'm
my
trying to
god.
attack the other one, but the stupid blood wolf is chasing me, and I'm like, "You're not even real. How come you can still make me bleed? This is not very nice."
Oh no.
You're not even real. It's like Freddy Krueger. You're not even
Yeah,
real.
exactly.
How are you making me bleed?
That's
You're not
actually how
even
I beat
here
the
right
fight. I was
now.
just like, "You're not even real," and he's like, "What?"
Whoa. Blew his mind.
Okay,
Oh,
let's get
shit.
the rest of the lab questions done so we can move on to some other things. I know you guys are itching to talk about Maven. We'll come back to that in a minute.
There-
Yes, Val?
Oh, I was just saying, they're just side notes, like so many side notes.
It's okay. Don't make me flustered, okay?
I'm sorry, I'm flustered.
Let's go. Okay. I have a really good question, okay? It's a good question. What's the biggest thing about lab that the rest of us have totally overlooked that you would like us to know? Suit.
I honestly was trying to think about something, and I don't think there's that many things people overlook about the lab. The only real thing that this is actually a debating point is a gold key. I don't think gold key rooms are that bad. Everyone else hates it when they see a golden key. The reason I don't think they're that bad is because the room is the easiest thing to navigate. It's a square. You just
Yeah.
go in a square and you'll get the key and you're done. But I feel like the people just look at gold key and assume they just made the lab longer. But the section could just been 3 rooms long, and
Yeah.
somehow that's
I-
shorter than the golden key. But
Dude, that's a
maybe it's
great
also
answer
because
to the
I've done
question.
lab too much and have that speed build that I don't notice the length of a golden key room.
There's one particular gauntlet at the key where it is like 50 billion thorn and slow totems in like a 2x2 area with like whirly boys and all this other kind of stuff. There's like just that one pisses me off. The rest of them are fine.
Yeah.
But that one, it's like I try and like scoot in to like start killing the totems, and then I get run over, and then I panic and I try to scoot out, but then no, I take the thorns damage, and then I've like scooted into a slow, and it's like I get really buoyed again. So there's like the one that I don't like. Otherwise, they're fine.
There is a symbol on the lab notes that is dangerous traps. That is the only room I use that symbol in.
Oh.
But people
Is
see
it?
that symbol on the people see the symbol show up on the image. It's like, what's that symbol mean? And it's like, it's because there's a really terrible trap gauntlet in there. You go in and there's most likely that trap gauntlet.
Yeah, that one is so mean. I've had a couple panics in there from time to time.
But
Yeah.
the solution is you hit all your flasks, scream ah, and grab both levers, and you're done.
Jesus, take the wheel.
Or you're a cyclone build and it's a movement skill and you have the movement thing that just kills you as you're moving.
Before running the Pathfinder, my speedrunner builds are shield charge and leap slam, and let me tell you, that was a rough time.
Oh. Oh no.
Especially if because I play like on Wi-Fi because I live in a house with other people. When I would desync and I would be like leap slamming in the wrong direction, so I'd be leap slamming up against a wall in the middle of a thorn shrine. So
Oh my
I'm moving
God.
through. On my end, I'm moving through and I'm dying. Some reason, like, why am I dying? I heal, then zip back. And I'm like, oh,
I'm still
that's
there.
why. It's like, okay, that's why.
I want to tell my very brief story about doing trials when I'm using, like, I'm in private league with like a bunch of European players, and I'm in Australia, so I'm doing my shared trial on the European server with 350 millisecond ping. It's like there are so many times where it's been like a spike thing where I've got to go through the set of doors, and then I've gotten there successfully, but the entire process of trying to leave happened 7 times because I think I've left, and the game's like, sorry, honey, no.
No.
The only time it's ever been okay has been Burning Rage for some reason. So Burning Rage is currently my favorite trial layout, and I've actually mentioned this to Suit, and he hates it.
It's the worst
no, that's painful.
I love Burning Rage. I can live through so much more in Burning Rage than I can on any other trial.
But Swirling Fear is so easy.
Yeah, and then Stinging Doubt is outside and easy.
It's
I think
the
this
shortest
millisecond ping thing, man, has
The death
completely
Roombas have gotten me
like-
more times than I'm proud of.
Those Roombas.
The death Roombas have killed
Yeah,
me.
I
The
panic
Roombas
and
got
walk
me.
with them, and then they're just constantly doing damage. And you're like,
I'm bleeding. Where do I go? I'm dead. I'm bleeding.
Yeah.
I actually learned this league that I love Stinging Out because it's also physically the shortest trial there is. Someone had to mention to me there is apparently a div card that only drops in that area.
No.
There's
Really?
apparently legitimately a div card that drops in Stinging Out, and I don't remember what it was. And every time I see Stinging Out, I'm like, oh, god dang it. I can't go through this fast anymore. I have to break the barrels. I have to kill the enemies to see if I can just get this freaking div card.
I didn't know that. I always just try to go as fast as possible.
I have hit the point where I just don't run the trials anymore because I have like 90 offerings.
Yeah.
They've dropped so far. It's like 2 offerings per chaos now. So it's like, okay.
Oh,
Let's
that
buy
is a good
all of 'em.
question though. Like, do you think, all the other league content dropping enchanted helmets or offerings like up the wazoo, does it like lessen? Has it have a balance effect on the experience of WoW?
As a person who needs offering, I appreciate as many offering sources as possible. In terms of the enchants, it doesn't bother me at all because they're the enchanted fossil and enchant rewards from the league mechanics they're statistically worse than lab, primarily because they have the merciless enchant pool. That just doubles the pool immediately, and that's really bad. That's incredibly detrimental in my mind. I will never use an enchanted fossil.
And non-specific bases and the worries of it just dropping versus using the fossil. Like the ones that just drop out of enchant boxes are just, whatever base with whatever enchant, and they can be pretty terrible.
I just YOLO those fossils and hope for the best. I could sell them for money. I just don't. I'm just like, all right, let's try. Oh, bad.
I think I've started using those to do the harvest conversion to see if I can get a better fossil.
That's a good idea, actually, because they are. I mean, don't they sell for 4C? Maybe not anymore.
And speaking of really dumb luck, I converted a set of those fossils, I think, on harvest, and it turned into the fractured fossils.
No way.
I got a full stack of mirrored fossils in harvest.
Okay, remember when I said I'd give you my RNG? Could I have some back? Maybe?
That was 2 leagues ago. Okay, hold on. That being said, yeah, I have spurts of really dumb luck, but then cursed 6 links.
Oh,
the reason I've basically just collapsed when Pi mentioned trying to 6-link the shavs is because I've had good and bad experience with that. I have 6-link shavs in like 10 fusings, and then I've spent 3,500 before, more than once, into a body armor to try to link things, and that's not fun. But also, in terms of me having really dumb luck, I do have that triple Watcher's Eye. That triple Hatred Watcher's Eye. I still have that, because that is the stupidest luck I will ever have in the game.
That's crazy.
It is sitting in standard where it will be there forever.
Is it your museum of collectibles? This is my museum.
Or my stash of problems that I can't get rid of.
Have you
very
resorted to just hiding all the remove onlys now?
It's all
Just
hidden.
maybe-
It's all hidden. It's all hidden. I don't want to look at it. It's nice to see those really old, like, weirdly oblong tan maps from ages ago. It's really fun to see those. But I don't need to see, like, the 60,000 tabs. I don't need to look at them. They're not there. Just show me the quad tabs where I can take equipment off and dump it in there and delete the character. That's all I need.
Yeah. Okay. Well, my next question is, how have the Zoom builds changed over time since you've been playing them? What are there, like, the biggest nerfs or buffs that you've experienced while making these builds?
I don't think they've... Oh, actually, no, there wasn't. There was the Queen of the Forest got nerfed, so that did remove 25% move speed at some point. I mentioned it earlier a little bit about how it went from just stacking raw move speed, just trying to get to like 600%, and then people somehow figuring it's like, okay, maybe I work reverse chill in here, so suddenly my action speeds increase, including my move speed, and now the silliness behind, well, one step back, in order to do that reverse chill, you need Skull's Bridle, because you need to hit yourself with something. Well, you can hit yourself with Phase Run with that helmet, so you hit yourself, chill yourself, and then you just take off. And then of course permanent berserking, where you get the it's berserk consumes less rage or something like that as an enchant. So you put that on the scolds, and then you run the Chainbreaker Timeless Jewel, I think, where you generate rage if you don't hit anything. Well, if you're running mines, you're not hitting anything, so you're permanently generating rage, hitting berserk, consuming that rage. But because you can generate rage fast enough and it won't drain fast enough, you're just berserking the entire run. So you then have another source of move speed, and it's someone mentioned in chat it was like 1200 move speed at this point. It's like, I am that is some effort. That is some effort to try to push a character to move as fast as possible. You only have 1.2k HP, which is a problem, but that's not a problem if Azar just dies.
Yeah.
It's also not a problem with traps because traps is percent damage. And also you can't take damage from traps if you're not in the traps, so you just you just run through it, so you're fine.
Okay, we got one other conversation topic on lab, and then we can sort of talk about cosplay and then move on to more PoE things. Enchants that are locked to eye level 86, like, thoughts on how this has affected the game balance and changes that you might like to make to it?
Yeah, the enchants are locked to 85, 86 at this point. 85 because that you can get Crusader mods there, but everyone goes for 86 because at this point they're so cheap, and you might as well go for the thing that can hold the highest mods. It's frustrating. It's kind of frustrating because so much value is put into Isla when it comes to enchanting, and it's hard to do day one because you're probably gonna be rolling 84 stuff because that's the only thing available. And granted, over time you're eventually gonna get that flood of 86, but this also kind of ties into the whole problem of everyone enchants the same 86 base just because it's profitable. So if you need a specific enchant on a specific helmet, for example, a free spell enchant on the new Maven helmet, we're probably not going to find that in a long time because no one's going to run that. Similarly, like, oh, I don't, you want an enchant, but you have to just search the 86 base because you're going to craft it, so there's no other option there. You can get the 84 base, but there's just that little thing that every Path of Exile player has was like, this is not as good. This is not as good, so it's going to feel bad. I'm not going to be able to roll the thing I want, so I just got to go get those two or higher levels. The suggestion that people have repeatedly put out is enchant the Divine Vessel so you can transfer enchants, which is a very good solution, I would say. There's probably other things you would. It works with the current system, but if they fully rework the system, then it probably won't work, especially if they do like putting it on the gem and whatnot. But it's definitely a band-aid to the current problem of enchants being on the wrong thing. It's annoying. It's annoying that I have to go buy this very specific thing to make sure I'm doing it, quote unquote, right.
That'd be a really great solution for divine vessels when they become useless, because they often do It's or R from the start.
Yeah, they might be a little bit useless from the start.
Maybe a little, maybe, but 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 that's really good because my ice crash takes fizz as extra cold damage on a fractal thoughts. Guess how many people are running lab doing fractal thoughts ice crashy shit?
Yeah.
Vel, I've seen the enchant. I can tell you that.
I
I've seen that
have
enchant. I've seen that
I
enchant.
I bought it for 10x and I was
Oh.
I cried about it, but just a little, My
Hey, someone ran
exalts,
it.
they're
Someone
gone.
ran it.
Somebody got it and then I bought it. So that's all that matters. But yeah, that's it would be so nice to just have it on a vessel and be like, oh, I paid, let's say, 4 exalt for this enchant because it's rare, right? On the vessel, slam it. That'd be really sick.
I definitely think it also wouldn't affect the market that much because all it does is it displaces where the trade is being, or the item the trade is being purchased from. Because right now you're just looking for the enchant and you just look for the base. Well, now we just look for the enchant. This cuts out an
Yeah.
extra step.
Mhm.
Like I suspect like Blade Vortex would still probably be 35 exalts because it's that good of an enchant. In fact, it might be more because you can put it on whatever the hell you want.
How many
Yeah.
extra bases do you say you hold on to enchant every day?
Well, I bought 10 Huberses today,
Woo!
so I feel like that's a good that's a good place to
That's a
start.
good. All right.
I ran out. I was like, oh, let me go buy some. This guy has 17. I'll buy 10 of them.
Nice. All right. We may come back to some lab related anecdotes, but let's sort of just talk about some cosplay stuff real quickly because don't know if everybody knows, but we've been watching a lovely slideshow for a while now of the awesome cosplays that Suit's been doing over the years.
I'm giggling because I just realized that slideshow's been going on this entire time with no context.
No, we mentioned the context in the intro. We mentioned the context.
Oh,
It's fine. So we've seen quite a few cosplays. What was the first character that you made a cosplay for, and how has the process that you go about making these cosplays changed over time?
the very first cosplay is from the pictures you probably tell is Zana V1. Before they changed the Zana model, I did the cosplay of Zana.
It's on random shuffle, so trying to wait for it to come up is not gonna be great. But go on.
The process has changed a lot. I still have my mom help me because she knows a lot more about sewing than I do. I have a sewing machine. I'm slowly learning, but the process is mostly, in terms of improvement or change, is more about improving how I break down the outfits. Because initially I didn't know how any of these, like any piece of, well, that sounds weird that I was gonna say I don't know how clothing works. I didn't know how the construction of clothing works, so I would ask my mom a lot of help about it. And we would go back and forth a lot talking about how this piece looks like it's doing this piece looks like doing this, or to make it, you probably have to layer it this way. We've gotten a lot better at doing that. Actually, Pi, you kind of experienced that when I broke down the Maven cosplay a little bit with you.
Yeah.
Where we were looking at big pieces of it first.
Like,
okay, she has the gold part, she has the black pants, she has the crazy headpiece. Okay, let's focus in a little bit. Let's see what each piece does. Well, the headpiece has a lot to it. It has the thing on the forehead, it has the spikes going out, it has the crown on the back. What was on the crown on the back? Well, there's a bunch of dots on it. It's glowing. Unfortunately, from working on trailer shots, I didn't realize that the crescent and the circle were 2 different separate pieces. So from the pictures, they're all kind of one piece for me, but you can't see because it's behind my head, which is fine. It's just starting big, getting into the details, and trying to figure out how to make those details more or less at this point.
Yeah, so when the trailer came out, I messaged Sue and I was like, so you're gonna try and do this in a week? Like, is it gonna be ready for league start? Like, I encourage you to. And then I was helping try and figure out like what each component was doing when we don't have like the greatest resolution images of her, not a lot of angles, and a lot of it's very stylized from the trailer. And then we got further images in the week leading up as well, and Suit's like, but I already broke it down. But what's kind of funny is, yeah, I did notice that, you know, if we go too detailed, it became too many jobs, of course, and that was it would needed to be what was most visually recognizable first, and then I assume at some point there'll be a take two.
I'm debating whether or not, because they did the talent competition started. I do not think I would love to compete and try to redo the Maven costume from scratch in a month. I don't think I can. I just started school.
Yeah.
I am just back in the semester, so my time is very limited right now, which is really unfortunate because I would have loved to try to challenge myself to. I did like a very basic Maven in a week. Well, what could I do in a month?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
school's rough. It took me 2 hours to watch a 1 hour lecture.
Oh Lord, man.
It's not a fun time.
Normally I watch
But
my lectures at double speed. If they don't have a really, really strong accent. If they have a strong accent, then yeah, gotta slow it down.
In terms of actually getting lost in cosplay, one of the most difficult ones is, dang, I didn't time it right. It scrolled off the screen. Jester Lavore from Critical Role, which is up there. There it is. The blue tiefling with the giant lollipop.
I love
That-
that one. The Jester's amazing.
Oh,
That
good.
one was so. Well, the one, thank you. But that was. She has so many accessories. Oh my god, there's so many add-ons I had to build for that, and it took
Did you-
so much time.
Did you paint your arms, or did you wear like a blue suit?
No, it's ow. I just hit my microphone. I'm sorry. I'm
Oh,
actually
no.
looking. No, it's probably just in my closet somewhere. I was wearing pale blue tights on my arms.
Oh, okay.
Oh, smart.
Yeah.
Damn, and it matches
Wait.
so well with the face makeup. Like,
Yeah.
And also something I should mention because in the picture I glued nails onto the tights as well to
that's
try to sell it a little bit more.
Is that what that? Oh, okay, cool. I thought they
It's
would.
Yeah,
so
that's why
perfect.
there's blue nails on the front. Like they're tights so they would cover my
I've
nails.
been cautiously looking at those because I love getting my nails done. So that's sick.
Oh no,
I,
those I threw the idea at my mom and she just got these like random junk nails that she had and she painted them and we hot glued them to the tights.
Nice.
That's so cool.
Look,
So clever.
yeah.
too.
Yeah, seriously. I assumed you just painted your arms because it looks like
Yeah.
Yeah.
The
Really
same.
No,
good.
that the face paint I did a significantly better makeup job with a test shot like months before I did the cosplay. The reason if there's anything I really want to redo in that cosplay, it would be the face paint because my room is upstairs with a PC with 2 lights in the corner of the house. It is not a temperature regulated room. My face was melting as I was trying to take pictures, and the
Oh.
face paint was running so bad.
Yeah.
It was
Oh no.
such a struggle to do that. I would not want to do that if my arms were painted.
So
On top of
winter
that, just
shoot when
touching.
it's time to do it again.
yeah.
Yeah.
Winter shoot only.
Oh, I've done that. I've had times where I'm doing my makeup and it's really hot in the bathroom, so I just go either like literally walk outside or yeah,
your
no,
face
that's a
next to the
struggle. It still
snow.
turned out so good though. I know I was bugging you about that a lot because as soon as you brought up, you're like, maybe I'll do Jester, and I was like, hey,
Please.
are you gonna do it?
Yeah, it's like someone
Please.
Are you doing it?
someone mentioned the character. I was like, "What's the character look like?" I looked at the character, like, I wonder if I can even do that in makeup. And as a like a personal challenge, like, let me see if I can just do it. And I did it. I was like, maybe I should start watching Critical Role, and I started watching Critical Role, and then a few months later, hey, I did the cosplay.
Well, and your skills with makeup they were already started off kind of unfairly good. Like you were already pretty good at it when you first started, but like the improvement in that is insane to the point that like I feel like if I ever wanted to do cosplay, I would ask you for help at this point. Like it's incredibly impressive. Like you do a really good job with just general makeup, but also that theatrical cosplay makeup in particular, like that and Oshabi. When I saw your Oshabi, I was like,
Oshabi
my
was fucking
I shouted.
mind-blowing.
Yeah.
I still think my makeup is like really rough. I still think it's really, really rough. I'm also every time the very first Zana picture rolls around, I just look at it and go, ooh, that's not good. Because that was my first time working with it. But I have too much makeup just under my desk at this point. Because I just roll through products experimenting to see what actually works with my face and trying to figure out what looks good. And that's honestly where a lot of it came from, was just, oddly enough, doing it and just wiping it off and doing it again and seeing if I can make it, trying out different styles, trying out pressure with brush, just doing whatever I can to try to figure out how to manipulate it.
Wow.
But
Yeah, I found one thing that I liked and was like, I'm never messing with this again.
I still have yet to find like a very solid base style that I like. Like even with Maven, I was still experimenting with like, okay, like I need to try something that is the amount of makeup I use is unholy. Even for like a very like casual, like natural look, it's so much. So I'm still trying to figure out here's I don't know if there needs to be a balance. Maybe that's just how it is for me, that I just need to use that much, especially I'm just doing cosplay things. And on top of that, me being male portraying a female character, maybe I really do just have to use that much anyway. So
I think anything with cosplay, especially, like you're having to an extent, like create facial features with makeup, right? And so it's going to require layers of, contouring different shapes, like making your face shape look different is going to require lots of different shades, and also to have a solid foundation so that when you're putting stuff on, it's not running or smearing or anything like that. It's a lot. Like for anybody who doesn't wear makeup, like if you want full photo ready makeup, it's going to be layered. It's going to be caked on there.
And there's a difference between what you need for like taking photos versus what you need for people to look at in real life as well.
Exactly. Big difference.
I'm actually I think it was in the Zelda cosplay, because she has those sideburn bangs that obscure part of the face. I think I did face tape for that one, where I legit would put tape on my face to see if I can adjust my jawline, just to add in like a little additional I guess sharpness to my face for the character.
Yeah,
Damn.
totally.
That is not something you would do on a regular basis, but that was just something I wanted to try to experiment with for that costume.
Not face tape on the regs.
No. It turns out it's really bad for your skin. The adhesive makes you break out really badly.
Oh yeah, that.
What inspired you to start trying to cosplay? I mean, obviously you started with the Path of Exile character, but what was
A bet.
A bet?
A bet.
Nice.
It honestly, God, was a bet. I have thought about trying cosplay for a while, but as a guy, it always felt weird. But eventually, it was in Incursion where my dumb luck kicked in, and I managed the 6-link 3 shabs in less than 1,500 fusings. And then it's an Incursion. You have to throw him in the temple. You have to throw him into the temple to see what happens.
Mm-hmm.
After 2 of them went white socket, I was convinced that third one was gonna disappear. And just my chat was, it's not gonna disappear. No, you're gonna get an awesome 2 implicit. It's not gonna disappear. And someone was like, what happens if you get 3 white sockets in a row? And a mod in my chat says, he like yelled out cosplay stream. Just randomly. And I just offhanded accepted that. It's like, yeah, if this thing gets 3 white sockets, then if I get 3 white sockets in a row, sure, I'll do it. Lo and behold, not only did that get 3 white sockets, in that entire league, I threw the double corruption at 7/6 again chance. All of them white socketed. So it's like, okay, well, that happened. And that led into me doing the Zana cosplay, the very first Zana cosplay later that league.
I love this story.
The best part about the story is actually asking my mom to help me to make the costume for the first time, because I don't have a license, and back then I didn't have a license, and she was taking me on driving lessons. At the end of one of the lessons, I asked for help, and I kind of went, "Hey mom, I need you to help me with something." He's like, "With what?" It's like, "It's something a little weird." It's like, "What is it?" "It's a costume." "What type of dress is it?" That was legitimately, I had to stop myself from laughing because that was the best answer she could have given, and it was amazing. And she helped me make that very first costume.
Nice.
That's so sweet. Oh,
just a
man.
little bit of appreciation for Suits Mom for giving us all these awesome cosplays, and probably more to come.
Yeah. I think.
Wait, I was going to say the one about favorite cosplayers, and then, but you can This is awkward now. I've already said it. Okay, so do you have any favorite cosplayers that you follow inside, outside of the community? Either one?
Inside the community, there is some of the cosplayers. Exile Supi, I still follow her, and I don't remember her full name. Evan Talia, I believe she was the she was one of the Juns, and she was the witch on the second day. And she's also the person who made the Badge of the Brotherhood recently.
Oh,
She's done some really good Pee-wee cosplays as well. She made her Cloak of Flame.
is she the one
Honestly,
on
I
Inst- I
don't
think I follow her on Instagram.
she is on Instagram. She is
Yeah.
on Instagram. I honestly don't really follow cosplayers too much. Funnily enough, I do look at cosplayers to see if I can get any reference or hints to see any techniques. Like I wrote down Kamui cosplaying and Kenpatsu. Both of them are professional cosplayers who also do a lot of tutorial books and a lot of tutorial videos. So they're really helpful for a lot of things I've done. After the first cosplay, my chat made me very aware of Sneaky, so I do know of Sneaky at this point. And honestly, I don't follow that many cosplayers, which is strange considering that I'm still trying to slowly getting into the hobby at this point.
Mm-hmm. Noodle.
Yeah, sorry, I jumped in there. So, you already kind of covered which one was the most difficult. So, it sounds like Jester was the most difficult, but which one's your favorite?
That's a tough question. I do still like Jester just because of the complexity, all the things that went into it, and the challenge of the face paint was great. Oshabi is up there because I did that in 2 weeks, and that was also a very straightforward costume. It also introduced me to my favorite prop ever, which is the black light contact lenses. I love that prop so much.
So sick. I was like, how in the world
Yeah,
are his eyes?
they are just straight clear transparent contacts that you put in your eye and you can't see them. But when you turn on black light, they glow blue. It's a very
so
simple
cool.
mechanism. It looks great, and I was so happy I was able to reuse them for Maven.
Are there different ones that go different colors, or does it always have to be blue?
I believe there are different color ones.
Cool.
They are very expensive though, so it was thank God I was able to use them more than once.
Yeah.
Yeah, one of the questions that I didn't write down that I thought would be a good one is like, how much has this whole cosplay thing cost you? Or because I know that it's a very expensive hobby.
It is only cost me a lot. For reference, the most recent Maven cosplay, buying supplies and some of the Maven stuff is just pre-made pieces of clothing. Like I was wearing a golden leotard that I just kind of pulled off my shoulders a little bit, and I had black leggings from I think the Rare vs. Anna cosplay. But like buying supplies for the LEDs, the I had to make a custom headband to put the spike crown. The spike crown, which is literally made of shish kebab skewers.
Really?
I needed to buy shapeable transparent plastic to make all the glowy orbs. And I also needed to buy transparent Christmas ornaments to make the orbs that I did not get a chance to hang.
Oh.
All of that put me over like $130 that I just threw away in a week, pretty much. I just tossed all that money right away into the cosplay and worked my butt off in that 1 week. Granted, some of that stuff I'm probably going to keep using, like that transparent moldable plastic is a really nice thing to have. I have a whole bunch of LEDs to work with at this point, so I've definitely have not made money from cosplay. I can tell you that, despite the fact that a lot of people give me high praise and I appreciate it. It's definitely a what's the phrase? Oh my God,
Labor
what's the
of
phrase?
love.
Labor of love. Thank you. It's definitely labor of love at this point. I do it because I want to rather than because it's actually like doing well for me.
Nice. I was thinking, because Vel's having some issues with the cam, we're going to have a very, very brief break so that if you need to go to the bathroom or anything,
Yeah, I could.
I'm going to do
fix
that.
it.
And Vel's going to try and fix her cam.
Always.
And then we'll
Yeah.
go on
I know what
with
it is.
Path of Exile related content after this, and we'll switch to a scene that doesn't have the rotating images.
Yeah.
So we'll be right back. If you guys need a break, that's also for you to take a second. And if
Okay, this
anyone
should
wants to
fix
stay
it.
and babysit chat, you're welcome to. But I'm going to use the BRB screen while we do this very quick pause.
Yeah, I'm gonna grab a little snack and pee and all that fun stuff.
I will babysit chat at the meantime then. So if anyone in chat has questions, I will try to answer them because I saw a few directed at me.
Okay. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay, good, good. Yeah, I think I found out the issue. I think, let me see. Turn on camera. Are you gonna work? Oh, whoops, I have to pick which one. Okay, so I think that Discord has an issue with this camera and 2 other cameras. Like the app itself causes green flicker to where the desktop web page, if you use the website, doesn't cause the green flicker. This new camera apparently just has this issue. I looked it up and I'm like, oh, okay. I did not know this. Brand new. Brand new for me. So let me know if it's still happening. I just switched it to the web page. I hope this fixes this stupid problem that I didn't know existed.
There is a slight
I'm
lag on
knocking on
Discord.
wood.
I can tell you that though.
Lag on yeah, I can see that my voice connection is my ping is 289 here. It's really bad. Maybe I can change it. I'm just in Sydney with bad ping. How do I change my ping in Discord? Hello, chat. How are you liking the podcast so far? It
Can
says
I?
I'm in Sydney Gateway. I just actually are we?
Someone asked me if I can see while wearing the
must be
contacts.
Sydney.
Everything has a blue haze while I wear the contacts.
Those contacts are crazy. How do you? I don't even know how you put them in your eye. Because they like go over the full. Like they're big, right?
Those aren't actually. They only go over the eye. Those go a little bit larger than the iris. I have it.
Okay.
I have not tried to get one of those full sclera contacts that go over the entire eyeball because I know that
Those are scary.
they don't always fit your eye and they're very expensive. So it's a huge
Yeah, they
risk to
must
get.
be.
Yeah, it's a huge risk for me to get them. Oh, it doesn't fit. Oh, there goes my money.
Yeah. Yeah, there goes your money. Or, oh, these are so insanely uncomfortable that there goes my money because I can't really wear them. Right? But man,
Without
can't change the gateway. Yeah,
breaking the
I'm at
scene.
269 ping. Apparently, it's been a little laggy. And I think this should fix any issues with the weird green flicker, turns out. I found out the problem.
I mean, the
think.
scene's been broken enough times. I don't know if it matters.
I know it's broken right now. Now my camera is a little higher than it should be. I'm sorry.
Fucking hell.
I know.
I'll fix it
been
one
such a
sec. I'm
problem.
just changing the gateway first.
Get one new camera. Next thing you know, Discord breaks.
I'm still in the market for trying to get a DSLR camera because all my cosplay pictures have been from my. So I need a better camera. I need something that can take a wider angle picture from a smaller distance because I do not have room to work with in my room.
The hell?
Also, yes, I did say Galaxy S6. I know that phone's 5 years old. It finally died last week.
Hey,
Aw.
I have a LG Q6. It's trash. Sometimes it just shuts off for no reason. But I never use it for anything, so keep it.
Unfortunately, we have like the worst design scanner, so I couldn't really scan my homework, and I had to take pictures with my phone. But then my phone stopped working, so I was like, "Well, I have to get a new phone now." Great.
I'm trying. Oh, and it's black. Nope.
Yeah, it was like, well, is my phone froze? Is it gonna keep going, or is it gonna? Oh, it shut off. All right, it shut off. Or is rebooting? Is it gonna actually boot up all the way this time? Yes. Yeah. Up. Nope. Never mind. It's rebooting again.
Nope.
I think that's the time where you need to upgrade.
Yep. I forcibly got a new phone last week.
That is
proud of
unfair,
you.
man. What if I don't want to upgrade because I never use my phone? Literally, I sometimes see texts. I don't even look at them. I just ignore it. Move on. I look over. I'm like, is that a text message? Eh. They can write me on Discord. That's where you're gonna find me. There's no text messages in 2021. It's Discord now.
Okay. Let's get on with the Path of Exile related content. Okay, let's go back to the Maven discussion that we were having. So, what did you guys find out about Maven as you've been playing through that you would like to share right now? Because I kind of felt like I was cutting off that discussion to go back to lab.
No. I think she's I think that she is one of the best bosses they've ever made because she's hectic. She's not alone. Like in the way that Uber Elder was hectic, Maven is hectic, which is why Uber Elder is like one of the best fights. It's like, I know what she's gonna do, but I have to make sure that I execute things well, or the fight's gonna be scuffed. So I'm really enjoying. Unlike Cirrus, where it's like I stand over here, eventually I go back, I stand over, I go back. It's like that's it. That's it. So it's really Maven is unfair, but also very fair.
I fought Maven 2 or 3 days ago for the first time. I bricked 4 portals on mechanics I physically couldn't see because I play cremation.
Oh no.
Oh yeah.
It's like I didn't know what mechanic was happening because I didn't see what was happening because there's a cremation going everywhere. I don't know how much we want to spoil mechanic wise with the fight.
I haven't
If we
fought
could.
her, so
It's
I
been
can
a month, I think
just
we can.
go like this.
Yeah, I fought her a couple days ago too and went in blind. So
Oh no.
I always do. You have to.
Yeah,
I also went
on
in
my first
blind,
one
which is
and
why.
got stomped.
Yeah, well, I just the degen ground was what really messed me up. I think I could have done it if I had known about that, but I never like to look at a fight before I do it for the first time. Like the second time, I think I'm going to be able to do it. I wouldn't say no problem, but like I got through almost all of the mechanics. But yeah, the first time the degen, I realized what was happening with the degen ball pops. I was like, oh, this is like Shaper, and oh no, oh, I'm in trouble. This entire like quarter of the arena is now a no-go zone, and we're playing Simon Says, and I'm in trouble.
Yeah. The Simon Says has to be one of the worst. Go ahead, Suit.
I was about to say it was Simon Says was one of the mechanics where I physically couldn't see because of cremation. So the first time it happened, I was like, why is she not doing it? Oh, I'm dead. The other is she did have there's that explosion attack where you have to move in a certain place.
Yeah.
Again
that got me
couldn't
too.
see it. I couldn't see it because my screen is full of it's like, okay, I don't know where to go.
I was so confused. I was like, nothing's happening. Like the brain's just sitting there and nothing's happening. And then it was like, whoa, like the whole arena.
In my panic, my short-term memory did kick in for the Simon Says, and after the first death, I realized like, oh, that's what's happening. I managed to nail them after that, but
Yeah,
I appreciate interesting mechanics, but my god, I couldn't see that. I don't know if there's a way for them to change that.
I love everything about the fight except the Simon Says part. I think it's just trivially difficult versus actually difficult. I'd rather have something that I'd rather have some mechanic that I have to be creative to overcome in some way with my build or have like really good precise movement, not remember and then run around stuff that I don't know. It's just
Did you see how Dan died today? Number 1 on the board, by the way. He was doing Simon Says, and he actually completed it. But you know how Maven does this growing circle as you're doing the Simon Says? Well, he completed Simon Says, but I guess his foot just touched the circle, even though
that's
he
what
completed it
happened to me
one
today.
shot.
Oh.
Yeah, like
Yep, just
I
one
was
shot
like
that.
I was thinking, I was going at it with like MMO brain, right? So I'm like, okay, well, if I know I have to go back and forth across these two platforms quickly, then I can just like the closer I am to her, the less my travel distance is, so I can complete it more quickly and then get back to DPSing her. But the center is like also a no-go zone, and if you go too close, then you just meh. And like it fails you anyways. And I was like, I didn't even like touch the other one, but I touched the center. And it's super frustrating.
Yeah, and especially if in his case he actually completed Simon Says. So that should have just instantly went
Yeah,
away.
you would
Yeah, I
think that
got
would
rid of the
stop
circle.
But
the
because
mechanic of the circle.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. It would just stop. But no, his foot touched it and he just that's how I felt about it when I saw it. Like just shook at this insta death, right? Because that's like you did the mechanic. Why? Like the mechanic
Yeah,
was
why
done.
is
Why?
that still
It's
left
like-
over? Does
Mhm.
anyone else have
It's
to
just-
assign like different sounds to remember where to go? I'm just sitting there and I'm like beep boop bop boop. That's the only way I can remember.
I have to physically
not
say the
visual.
direction out loud. I have to say like up, left, right, up, left out loud, and then just repeat it just to make sure I can do it. I feel like one of the things that bothers me so much about that attack is she can do it more than once.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that she can do it
in
more
the
than
last
once is
phase-
super frustrating.
In the last phase, I had her do my first kill. She did it to me like 3 times. I don't even know how I got it on that last time. Like I thought I should have been dead. I don't do beep boop. I'm like up, down, not down, which is actually left.
Up, down, not down.
That's like my brain. Up, down, not down, up. Yeah. Yeah, I can't even say left. But yeah, that is the one that's the one bullshit mechanic. Other than that, I like the other parts of it. I really enjoy.
For me, it doesn't even remotely make sense to her as a character or to the rest of the boss design either. That's the part that I think bothers me the most. Like the brain being like super powerful and like this disjointed but also her thing, and it having like coordinated attacks along with her, and the platforms and like sort of this big cosmic power stuff, like all of that makes sense. And even like the beams at the end is still like thematic to a point. But this is just this extra layer of whatever, and it doesn't thematically fit. It doesn't fit her character. Like if anything, like I'd have to actually sit and think about what I would think of as like an alternative mechanic instead. But like considering how hungry and bloodthirsty she is, like playing Simon Says is not really that brutal. It's
But she's only
maybe
a
a
baby.
point. Yeah, I guess like it's that's a little on the nose though.
Yeah.
Because kids also tear legs off of ants. I mean, there's other ways for this to go.
And we're the ants.
It was also brought to my attention, so I will say, very happy to see a fight where it's not red on red or green on green in everything. That's great. But one of the issues with Simon Says for colorblind people is that it is
Purple
red and green.
Purple and purple.
Well, it's purple and
Yeah.
it is pretty purple and purple in general. But the red and green, if you're red and green colorblind, you can't tell if you got it correct. And
Nope.
I've had
No,
a few
you
people
can't.
mention that in my chat, that it's
Yep.
like, okay, well,
The
there
game
has to
is-
be some kind of consideration for that, right? That's not really fair.
Yeah, they don't even have colorblind for anybody. Like they're just like, I don't think there is any accessibility colorblind mode,
No,
right?
there is no mode. Mm-mm.
I don't think so.
The only
Maybe
colorblind
PoE
friendly
will
they
fix
thing.
desperately
everything.
do with a colorblind.
The only colorblind friendly thing that I've ever found is just being able to have like the little life bars above your enemies and stuff so that people can see the bars where the enemies are. Because if they're the same color or like red, green color background type stuff, being able to see that there's a bar there, at least then they know that there is an enemy there. But I don't believe that's why that's there. It's just, the best solution to the problem.
I will say, besides
much.
the Simon Says, I did really appreciate
Pretty
that
much.
as someone going in blind to this fight. I thought a lot of the mechanics were well telegraphed, either by audio cues or just kind of learning, except for the fact that there's like 5 different kinds of blue balls. And some of them do degen ground and some of them just pop. And you have to kind of learn what each different one does. But I still thought in general, like I got into a rhythm in the fight on my first try pretty well after like the first phase of being like, what is that? What is that? There's a lot happening. What's going on?
I still have no idea what the balls do because of cremation.
Yeah.
I still have no idea what they do. I just kind of moved around and prayed that I was gonna be okay.
I think that with the extra month that they had, everything minus like the very obvious problems that we had earlier, but the boss fights, the rituals have all went really smooth, right? Like there was no insane bugs like there was in other leagues when they introduced it. Like the ritual, you know what they could do with Maven? Just get rid of her Simon Says and just keep that beam where you have to like, walk through the openings of it, because that's kind of tough, it hurts a lot. It moves constantly. If you're like one of those characters, aka melee, that has to move, you're just like, beam, run, beam, like boink, run. Basically, it's like I think that could be just add in that beam early. Maybe it'd be too simple though.
I find it hilarious that like Ritual was smooth, Maven was smooth, but they somehow still managed to break Cirrus.
Yeah.
Yes,
It's like, wait, hold
they
on.
broke
That's not how that's supposed to work.
Yeah, they broke. There's been so many other issues, but that like at least the two things, Ritual and Maven, have been smooth.
And Noodle knows this. I fought
The
Cirrus.
server issues.
I fought Cirrus earlier on stream. I walked out the door after reviving, and there was a storm right on top of the door again.
Mm-hmm.
It is unbelievable that it's still in the game to me.
It's true. I was there. It's like, wait, oh.
Oh. Oh boy, I thought it was just the die beam. Oh god.
There are storms can still spawn by the door when you come back in, and it is mind blowing.
That's terrible. That's terrible.
I will never find an Awakened Orb because I do not want to fight him. I do not want to fight him anymore.
So I take it you won't be putting any points into Cirrus 9.
I feel like for content I have
in
to.
the middle. Yes. I feel like I kind of like it. You kind of have to, but it actually isn't that good.
I think I've only done 2 points in the middle so far. I'm working towards the Zana stuff, I believe.
It is really nice. I went for that one too, and like you open up a Xana mission, and like every single box is full of maps, and like you get to it's like choose your guardian you want to fight. So if you're like if you're down the Phoenix Fragment or something like that, like chances are you're gonna run into it if you just start running your Xana missions. So you have like all of these things where it just like cascades, and you have more opportunities to get harvest from it, or maybe you get like Untainted Paradise, and it's free guardians
God.
forever basically, plus all these other options depending on what sort of missions you're directly looking for.
Let me just tell you though, I did that. I switched out points this week, put points into Xana for harvest. Literally today is the first time she gave me 2 harvest missions all week. She's like, nah,
Nah.
No.
She's just making you wait for it, you know? Making sure that you're
She's making you
dedicated.
work for it.
That you weren't just gonna regret those points away.
From those
I
harvest
was.
missions.
Yeah, she's like, I'm gonna make you want it.
From those harvest missions, how many mods do you have to delete from your bench?
Yeah. Oh, you know what? You know what? So the amount of mods that I just have to leave behind because I can't yet. Like I had a fire to fire. I'm not going to trade them because I'm not going to deal with the whole discording trade thing. I'm not doing it. I refuse. I know you need it now, but I didn't know.
Yeah,
this
yeah. I
was-
would like to reiterate that we should have a list of what we all need because I would have taken that.
Just need to build a community spreadsheet.
Just
Yeah.
just
No,
this,
now that
this
I know
group.
that it was like last week, and I had to just let it go, and I felt it crushed me. But I'm like, I have nobody to trade this with.
It's so hard to choose. Like you're thinking, oh, I could use this. This could be good on a specific item, but I'm literally just only saving things relevant to the staff that I'm doing.
Yep.
It's like
Yep.
I'll trade for the
Exactly.
currency and the fossils and the upgraded offerings, but other than that,
How is it on your server, Pi? Because it's a smaller community. Like, are you guys trading crafts a lot? And is everybody friendly about it?
Yeah, I mean, like if it's getting to the point where people aren't online all the time anymore, though, so it's harder.
Oh no.
With a small group, you've got to be online at the time that they find it, otherwise you're shit out of luck, kind of stuff. There's like a Discord chat where you can say I'm looking for this, but I've seen a few people say that and then never seen whether it's been resolved or not. I think like it also has to do with just how this group of people tend to play. Like if they find something, it goes in global chat at the time that they find it, and it's like when I'm playing and I need something from the game or from the community, like unless they're in chat actively paying attention, I can't watch both global chat and play. Like that's too many chats for me. So
too many chats.
Yeah. I'm a little frustrated with myself because really early in the piece, like probably week 1, there were rotations happening with Maven invitations, and I was kind of going along for the ride, but I didn't really understand how the stuff outside of the, like the regional, like predictable things worked. And because you can't see it if you're not the person who opens the map, you don't know that you're getting completion unless you already have the invitation. And I did like 3 out of 4 breach lords with this group, and I didn't know that it was getting completion until like I went to run the only breach stone that I have in my inventory. And it's like, oh, Maven can't witness this because she's already seen it. And I'm like, I didn't know that she had seen it because it didn't tell me that she'd seen it because the quest hadn't been started as far as my game is concerned. It would have happened if I'd done the 4th one with them and hosted it.
Oh no.
And that was what they offered me to do. But I was so pissed off by that point that I was like, nah, I've just got to find it on my own. And since then, I've found out that breach lords are probably the worst one that I could have tried to force, because they're really, really difficult, and I don't think that my survivability is quite there for it. So what I'm in like a really difficult spot right now with my Maven progression, which is why I'm just gonna sit back and like let you guys have a lead discussion as far as any like real mechanical things go, or any like multi-boss fights that are from like the 9, I can't even remember, Uncharted Realms groups of people type boss fights. I only have like a vague understanding of what's going on there. I haven't seen anything to do with it. Because I wanted to try and experience it all for the first time by myself and in a solo self-found. And with my full-time job, I just haven't been able to spend a lot of time on it. That was a really like roundabout discussion about how Harvest factors in.
I wasn't sure where we are at because I have stuff I want to say, but I don't know actually where we are right now, topic wise. Before I jump in.
Just
I feel
saying.
like
It's like I want to talk about harvest stuff, and I kind of want to talk about general
I have,
echo stuff. I don't know where.
I have like one Maven thing, but then I'm down to go to harvest because I definitely have a lot of harvest things I want to talk about. But has anyone else done one of the unique Maven invitations? So like the Guardians or,
Yep.
the synth bosses, and noticed any like animation bugs? Because I did one with Shaper Guardians, and I watched Aphelion do one with, I think he was doing the Breach Lords, and like we were just dying to things that weren't there. Like uh, Phoenix was charging up his attack, and so I was running away from him. He's still doing the charge up. He hasn't released the AoE, and my character just like popped like 6,000 to 0, and I was like, okay, that's weird. And I watched it back, and like there's literally nothing there, and I was like,
Nothing.
okay. And then I noticed that rocks were falling not in the Minotaur circles, and I was like, well, that's not fair. Like, I'm avoiding the circles. How did I just get hit by a rock? Like, that's the whole point of it. And so I had at least 2 deaths during that I was like, I don't know what's going on here. Like, if it was me, but then I watched Aphelion do the fight. So I think there might be an issue there. I did the Elder Guardians one and it went okay. But yeah, I feel like it happened pretty recently and it was very weird.
Yeah, because I've just fought all of them recently, like in the past 2 days, did all of them, knocked them out, and I didn't have those issues. So I'm not sure if it's like a texture thing with your specific like hardware setup or maybe a desync, because it sounds like it could be either, but more than likely just textures not loading in. Because that
Yeah, that's what I'm
sounds
thinking is
stupid.
unloading textures. Yeah.
Chad's saying
Yeah.
the texture streaming stuff that we've been having issues with.
Yeah,
Yeah, it
I'm
probably is
lucky
that.
that my hardware is like perfectly average, and I for some reason just get to skate by almost every single, you know, hardware related anything that's happened in the last year and a half.
I do have all my settings to max after I made my new PC because I was like, I can do it. I spent the money. I can do it. So I could probably, just like reduce some stuff instead of being like max settings for no reason because flex on them.
I really
Maybe
love
that's
the
it.
fights though.
They're a lot of fun. They're super challenging.
I'm gearing up for the feared, and I want to do that one like
Ooh.
soon, maybe this weekend. I just got to go capture an Ubert Siri in a Chiyula.
I forgot.
But I
we had to
like
do
it. I like the new combinations of the different bosses too.
Yeah.
I don't know. It adds a whole extra layer because the Guardian fights, let's be honest, at this point in time are incredibly stale. Like even with map mods, generally speaking, you know what you're getting into, you know like what mods to avoid if you need to or not. But to fight them all together requires, just like that. It's the same reason why I love the Uber Elder fight, and it was my favorite and still remains my favorite, is that because you have 2 dynamic bosses that occur at the same time, there's overlaps in mechanics that happen. And you grow as a player as you encounter those mechanic overlaps and then successfully get past that obstacle, whether it's like the big donut with like a shaper slam and you bait the slam out and then go back into the donut. Like you acquire that knowledge over time, and that's like my favorite part of bossing personally. And so basically I've just been handed a fucking buffet of know all of the mechanics and anticipate them, and like you're gonna have the best time ever, because like when you see certain mechanics happening from different bosses, you know what to expect. You dash over to a different area to dodge that one. You see another one winding up and you're like, okay, they're about to do that. It's just this whole other layer of bossing that I'm just super duper excited about. It's like we just got handed like 6 other Uber Elders to do, and I couldn't be happier.
Yeah, on the Shaper Guardian fight, Minotaur came in last. So he must have come into the arena. I didn't see him. I'm like dealing with the other 3, and then just all of a sudden Minotaur like pops up underneath me, and I just cracked up because I'm like, it's that mechanic, but it was like, oh, I guess he's in the arena now, and he just like
Right.
appeared like a gopher from nowhere from my perspective.
So now the next time you go in there, if he isn't up yet and you see that timer go down, and you got to like kite over to him so that when he comes up, he can't travel to you.
Exactly.
Like that's the
Yeah.
coolest part. That's so fucking awesome. It's my favorite bossing.
Yeah, it really does shake it up. It's super fun.
Except for the Breach Lords, because at least for me, Tall came out first both times. Esh came out right after that. Ash was on the other side of the map. Paul was on the other side of the map. Paul's wide cone hits to the other end of the map. You cannot dodge it. You have to stay behind him. Ash is on the other side throwing balls you can't see come at you because you can't see that side of the arena. And it's just kind of bullshit. I just remembered it and I was like, that was the most bullshit because there was no way to dodge what I can't see coming to dodge it. And I can't leave Tall's back because he's doing this thing constantly. So it's just kind of bullshit.
This
is
is the
all.
second
You know?
instance of you getting two enemies on each side. Just
Yeah, that's exactly it. Except this, like, I failed one just because Tall would not stop. I don't know if he was just or she was just constantly like, you know what? This is my move. I'm just gonna do the big cone, and that's what I'm doing my entire time in this arena. And so every time I tried to like readjust, it was like big cone time. Eventually I had enough damage to just like kill him off, but it was so there was nowhere to go but at her back, which is, I feel, kind of unfair if there's somebody on the other side of the arena you can't even see doing moves that you can't anticipate.
Yeah,
Like, you know?
for that one,
That's about it. That's my only like gripe with it.
The Breachlord fight, what got me was not having a source of phasing because I couldn't do phasing on kill because you don't kill them very often, and I got like basically blocked in by all of the Ulantil spikes to the point where I was like so crowded in with spikes I couldn't get out. And like I kept trying to flame dash, but then I was like stuck in another thicket of spikes each time I flame dash. So I died once during the encounter to just being stuck generally, not even anything too crazy. So for Breach Lords, I'm gonna swap out one of my probably my Quicksilver Flask for a phasing just to oh shit get out of here button.
Phasing
Make
is
it easier.
OP,
Yeah, now that I have the damage, like Tall isn't that bad.
I've only done the Shaper Guardian one. Is it the Breach Lord one? Those 4 first and Chayla save for the feared?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah, I haven't done. I have 3 invitations for that because Maven decided to drop me 3 of those and none of the rest.
Yeah.
I haven't done that because I just haven't done the Breach Lords yet. I have that thing in my head where it's like I need to make the pure Breach Stones. I probably can just run them at this point, just so I can get that out of the way.
Wait, if you made them pure, they wouldn't be like more health and harder when you fight them with Maven, right?
I think they already get bumped up, so I don't think it would be like an extra bump. Hopefully not.
I would hope it's a flat scaling.
I'm wondering, do they already get do they get more health when they're already bumped to Maven? I don't remember. I know I can give them more health. Oh, I know I can do that. But can but can I? Do they just have more? If I got like a pure boy, would that actually be extra more health?
Well, I hope not because I've done Tall Enriched.
I don't think it is.
Okay, well, yeah.
I
had no idea, but yeah, that one, they're fun.
I know you guys are all in Trade League, so I'm just curious, has the access to the end game fights been pretty easy for you because you can just trade for invitations?
Yeah, it seems to be like every single league, and this is just sort of always happens. Like I'll get more of one type of guardian for Elder and Shaper, etc. And it seems to be the same way with these invitations. Like for some reason, I just drop them like crazy for Glennick or Valdo. And people do a lot of farming in Valdo because of the Harbingers and stuff. So I'm usually able to trade for where I'm at. So I've been able to just trade like invitation for invitation when I need to, and then swap other ones as well.
I have not traded it. Go ahead.
Oh, you go ahead.
Oh, I was just saying I have not traded one, and I'm stuck with the 10 lira. No invitation. 10 bosses. Go ahead now. That's all.
I have also have not traded for any of the invitations, and I feel like my problem at this point isn't necessarily having too many invitations, not having enough maps for the specific areas.
Yeah, I've had to really like up
Yeah.
and drop my watchstone configuration a lot more than normal just to make sure that when I'm in a certain area, I can really focus on that area and get enough maps to do 10 each time.
Mm.
So I guess, I
Have
mean,
you
it's making the atlas more interactive in that way.
I also
are
have a
you
problem where I
switching up your favorites? You
Yeah.
guys switch up your favorite maps?
Well, I haven't really been using the system as much as I have just been upping and dropping stones because like there's some maps that I want to run always no matter what if I'm in a specific area like cemetery because it drops the exalt card and it like helps me if I'm going back to that zone to farm, like say I want to go back to Haywork to then look for harvest crafts again. I'll favorite one map in that zone so that when it's time to go back up to a 4 stone configuration in that area, I've got cedar maps. And then if I drop the rest of my atlas and then start like on 1 or 2 cemeteries with enough completion and like some mild juicing, like you're automatically like dropping all the other maps. You just sort of like leapfrog around the area until you get the 10 pretty easy. So like I've been using the favorites to more or less like ensure that I have like a base stock so that if I want to go to like Turns or Baldos or something like that, I've got enough in the 14 to 16 range that are actually applicable to that zone to then like if I want to move around farming wise, I've got the base to do so.
I haven't been using the map favorite system because I actually haven't. I forgot about that system, and I haven't done my completion of the areas to actually do that. I haven't had the maps drop to finish off each area, and I have a problem where I have this problem where I don't spend currency like ever, so I haven't even traded for those maps to finish off the areas. I'm just kind of
Oh
working with
boy.
whatever drops for me right now.
Mm.
What's your horizon situation looking like?
Over 100, I believe, or close to that. I haven't
That's
been
the only
using them.
way.
Mine's
That's
always
the only
like
way I get it done.
3 or less. I use them so
Yeah.
much. And they never hit what I want.
I've been
Nope.
using them to force maps that I need Maven in, and that's about it. I haven't gotten lucky enough to actually get them in areas where I need this map for completion.
I've wasted this league because I molded about it like 30 horizons just to roll one map that I didn't have completed. And I'm like, why did it roll 8 like 15, 16 of those for promenade? Like, why did it just not roll the other one I needed?
Are they supposed to be evenly
What
weighted?
is I thought so. But maybe not. Maybe just super unlucky,
I'm really suspicious, man.
you know?
You just reminded me of an intense frustration I've never experienced before, where I was doing harvest, and I got the harvest, exchange a map for a map, prioritizing ones you haven't done before. That's a lie. That's a big lie. I rolled a the same tier 15 map. I put it in its own tab for a while. It's the same tier 15 map. I rolled it like 6 different times throughout Harvest, and it did not turn into a tier 15 map that I didn't have. It kept turning into ones I've already done.
A lie.
Oh my god.
Lies.
Is that even on?
It's just-
Does it actually work?
Knocks on it.
I don't know what happened. It was just like, prioritize the map. I haven't done that map. Go to that map, please.
Yeah, I mean, we know that Horizon Orbs only roll the natural tiers, but that doesn't mean that it rolls the right natural one that you're looking for.
No. I appreciate like what is it, tier 10 or 11 where there's like 2 naturals. And you're like, okay, it's gotta be one of you.
1, 2.
I know what I'm getting into this time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right. There's
Mhm.
probably a few more topics that we can talk about, but one that's probably interesting is that GGG put out an entire article about learning and I think lore related stuff related to the Maven. So Noodle, did you have some particular like comments or questions around this?
I guess the only thing that I think is interesting about that in particular is that this is not the first boss necessarily to have done this, but I think it's the first boss that they've been very explicitly telling us through introducing the character and through this learning situation that this is a introduction to a storyline that is going to grow. There is going to be something else that happens with this specific person. With Elder, I mean, in a way that grew, but it was basically, here's the Elder, defeat it. Now actually those other people defeated the Elder, defeat them, where it's kind of a start and stop of introduction, then there's a completion within that expansion. And I think beyond the implications of her becoming more aware, learning our language, and having more coherent demands of us when she's interacting with us, it's a more explicit indication that now she's going to want something else, or there's going to be something else that she's doing with us, which I hope to see, because fighting her without any conclusion is interesting, but it's also I don't know. I would like to see the Maven, now that she has learned something, want something else besides just having her prize collection fight.
Character development.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's really cool, and I think that having a more open-ended situation is relatively new.
What if, hear me out, Xana turns evil because she's actually Calandra, right? I believe this. And Maven becomes the new Xana because she's like, you're like me? And I'm like, yeah, I'm totally like you. Yeah. And so maybe she becomes our friend. Xana turns evil. Potu.
Well, Xana's already pissed at us. She's literally, when you invite the Maven, she's
mad.
like, hey, we just fought this Elder. I don't know if you remember, my father died and all my friends died and went crazy. And we sort of spent all of our lifetime building technology to seal the Elder up. And I just, so you invited this lady, this floating lady.
Wait, did we invite her? I thought she was inviting us.
Yeah.
She just came.
Well, when you
oi.
We opened up the opportunity for her to be here.
You get the quest thing to put in the map device to be able to invite her, and Kazana looks like he's like, "Come on, what are you doing?"
Yeah,
we did.
We talked about this.
I'm sorry.
Why are you signal blasting us right now? Come on.
I can't believe I forgot that, because I was like, I don't know what to do with this thing. What am I supposed to do with this thing? I didn't have quest tracking open, so I had this green object, and I was like, do I right click it? What do I do?
I think the thing that I took away from the article that I liked the most was the concept of an antagonist versus a villain, and the distinction between the two. And I really like that too, because we definitely had the Elder who, I think when you have a villains serve only a plot line purpose to be defeated. But when you have an antagonist instead, you can do a lot more. They're unhinged from the story in a way that a villain is not, allowing them to, grow, change, etc. Like we had Piety, who eventually is like, shit, actually, you're really cool. Sorry. And tries to help us in the end. And I think that's really cool, especially as we move forward into whatever comes next. And I thought the implementation of her character in with slight hints to what we've already experienced before was really cool, because we know when we knew that eldritch beings were capable of some process of thought in the way that the elder would hunt and select certain victims and targets and stuff like that. And then when he latches on to the Shaper, he speaks through Shaper, at the very beginning of the Uber Elder encounter, and it's the same sort of basic dialogue at first. So we get putrefy, fester, rot. And that's how we are introduced to the Maven too, but instead of her possessing somebody, it's just her saying it too. So we are having the same sort of base dialogue with the Eldritch being initially, and then it grows from there. So it's almost like we get to learn more about even him, even though he's gone, through our interactions with her too. And I like the building from there. And I think it's good for PoE because I feel like we have like the story for the most part have been like all these little branches off of a big tree, and we've just gotten like there's delve and there's heist and there's all these other sort of things. But it's been funny to basically have, you know, like an entire in game that's making fun of the fact that we all play PoE. But I'm really looking forward to like actual storylines again.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
I like that.
There's one thing I hate about the Maven. If you don't want to witness my simulacrum, don't make me click off the button because I forget to click it back on. And then I'm like, why aren't these bosses filled up later?
I did that.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Yep. Just don't watch it then. God.
Just because you're invited doesn't mean you have to come.
Exactly. Exactly. Don't want to be there. You don't have to. Just don't make me click the button. Don't make me call you up and say, don't come to this. You know? Not doing that. Oh, that's that. I just did that yesterday with like 8 maps. 8 bosses
Oh,
that didn't
no.
get filled.
I realized it after
Yeah,
the
'cause
first one,
I
but
did
that's
something that was like that too. I was like, I have to turn the button off for some reason. And then I think I ran a few maps and I was like, I haven't seen or heard from her in a while. What's going on here?
I'm really happy they did the little visual rework to it too, because initially you're like, is it on? It's off. It's on. It's off. I can't tell. Is it on? I don't. And now it's just like very fucking obvious. So that was a nice little touch up there. But then it
Although-
makes me feel
Yeah.
like my map device is broken because I've stared at it looking a certain way for like almost a year now, and it's all grayed out. I'm like, what?
Yeah, I mean, I
It
had
still
the same
startles me
thing
when I look at it.
with the masters as well, because like they just made it look like they weren't accessible. Like the darkness is to the level of you can't do this.
Yeah.
I'm like, I get what you were doing here, but there might be like a little tiny bit too much. And it's not that I think it's too dark. I think it just needs something to be like, okay, so I know that I have availability, like it's there. But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. It's definitely a challenge, probably design wise and otherwise, because like we have all sorts of different systems now that utilize buttons, and then we also have like button tolerance when we get used to their presence. So I guess it's probably pretty hard. Like you can't just like, oh, slap a big border around it, because we'll eventually ignore that too. So
Yep.
yeah, I mean, like I'm pretty proud of my lizard brain every time I remember to actually use ritual before I leave a map.
The amount I've walked away and said, oh no.
I was going fine because I was doing, like, I had a ritual routine for every map, and then there was a point where I was like, this is really slowing me down, and I need to just get further ahead of the game. And after I did that, I almost, like, I killed everything but didn't bother activating them and resummoning them. And then after that, my brain went back to, like, normal mapping and didn't understand. And it's the same with with metamorphs as well, right? There's like so many times where you're like, I love the quality of life of being able to see where the mobs are before I get to them. Oh, I forgot to do what the reason they have that is.
Yeah, and then if they're like, okay, well, once you have all the parts for the metamorph, the button should blink, but we all know by the ever-present blinking help menu button that a blinking light doesn't make us do shit either.
Okay, but like the help button is in part of the HUD, and I feel like if it's in the section like not related to that, you know, in the bit that's above the section, it's different. It's received differently. Potentially.
I feel
that's my opinion.
If I do one ritual and then it just like does a little flashy glowy thing at me, I'll probably eventually tune it out. But maybe at the initial bit, I'll remember to actually spend my points. You know? I might for at least like a week, you know, for like a good week, just something to be like, hey, don't forget your points. Because the other day, or like, what was it? I started doing some juicy rituals, putting in like big bosses, like the ritual sticks, and I got 4 exalt, and I got things to defer and stuff, and I haven't seen one of the things that I've deferred, and I'm like, what if I just passed by it? What if I did a ritual and I didn't look at it, and then it's gone, and and then it came back, but then I didn't do that ritual, and then it's really gone. Like,
there's no deferral list. They don't want to put it in deferral list.
Did they say they absolutely do not want to do that?
They said it would take too much time.
Yeah.
It would take too much development time to put it in at this league.
And you'll probably see the item again. It's probably not gone.
I think I hate the word probably.
Yeah.
Same.
I've been
you're like, go ahead.
I've been heisting and labbing for the past 3 days. I don't know what ritual is anymore. I just haven't been right.
Yeah, look at Belle's surprise face for heisting. I only know because I was watching their stream yesterday. Otherwise, I would also be spitting out my coffee.
It's dangerously good money.
I was because I was.
It's so good.
How many exalts was that? After a good lab day, I was sitting on like 86 exalts. I'm like, I might just go for the headhunter. I don't want to run maps right now, so let me just run through my billions of heist things I have to do. So I started running through those. Then lab became good again. Then I got the really good enchants. I have not interacted with the ritual in the past few days. I did a map today to get to Cirrus, and I did skip the ritual because I didn't think about it. But I'm blaming that on the 3 days of not doing a map.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm skipping more and more rituals lately, especially if it's in an area that's like a tiny hallway. I'm like,
you don't get any reward. There's not enough monsters.
If it's an open area, unless it's Foul or Fortress, then I'm not doing it. And anytime it's like a super special one, like the Glacier ones or the Apocalyptic or the Vol ones, I'm like, okay, I'll definitely do that one. But most of the time, I'm like, I just feel like I haven't seen any very good rewards in a while, which might be, coinciding with me just not doing them anymore.
I was going to ask if you've seen anything since last podcast. Anything nice?
No.
Yeah.
Well, when I added the juice, definitely. Post juice? Pre-juice? Meh.
I think it's very easy to feel underwhelmed by ritual, but if you break it down, I think it has a place, and I think it's properly balanced. It's that roulette of, oh my god, it could be a doctor or a mirror or an exalt. It's got that chase in it. But the rest of everything else is so damn rewarding. It doesn't need to be, but all of those things are pretty damn rewarding in the fact that they have other systems that are tied to them. Like Delve, you got to do the sulfite thing, and Heist, you got to do the heist thing and unlock the rogues and level them. But it's just brainless, kill many monster, pick reward, go. And I'm honestly fine with that not blowing my socks off every single time I open the menu. Like, I'm fine just to pick up, like, okay, it's got some sextants to chisel, maybe an essence, I'll throw out a hat later. And like I'm fine with sort of that little extra bit in my inventory when I leave the map to dump it. But like the fact that I don't have 6 spreadsheets open on my second monitor makes me perfectly fine that I'm not getting 6 spreadsheets on a second monitor worth of loot.
Yeah, I kind of like actually that I don't feel completely pressured, like I have to be doing ritual to be keeping up with the general like game or being able to do endgame content or anything else. And I will say, every time I run out of alts, I am doing every ritual.
I wish it was as generous with fusings.
Yeah, don't let us give like 4 fusings. Or 3.
And I like the fact that some of the rewards are super skewed too, because like for example, something that has a lot of value almost always traditionally goes for almost no favor, like delirium orbs. Like I've never seen one above like 800 and maybe 900 tribute. But, those are, I mean, by any scale of us judging how important an item should be, I mean, that should probably be like 2,400, 3,000 or so just for that one, instead of 2 chaos. So I like that there's some, like, even within like our meta versus like the game's determination, there's still like those little opportunities to feel like you're winning something, even if it's not like the exiles you defer or what have you. There's still smaller victories.
I think it was like 500 tribute for me or something like that. It was 500 tributes for a pair of face breakers. I was like, oh, that's interesting. I hovered over them. They were perfect face breakers.
Hey.
The wand that I have, that every single time I'm like, oh, maybe I should upgrade my weapon. And then I like control click the one that's going for like 12, 15 exalts on PoE trade. And I put it in my POB and it's a damage loss. I got that wand in Act 7 and I have not replaced it. Like and I got it for like 300 tribute. Like I actually actively want to replace it, but like I have to go all the way up to like the 80x wand and scepters to actually replace it because it's just like that.
Yep.
Like there's still potential even in what would be considered normally junk and filtered out to just hit that 1 in a million.
So I find it kind of frustrating because I feel like those +1 wands and stuff were dropping or showing up a lot in the low rituals, and then I just never see them anymore and can only find any actual good +1. Like people, I remember the first few days of rituals, everybody was like posting, look at all these +1s, critty wands, scepters, etc. Nothing. Crickets now. It's like everybody's in maps and they just stop showing up. They're like, yeah, no. I know that like the higher eye level, the more chance to roll trash, the more likely it's harder to find like a better wand. But it's still kind of annoying that I have like a eye level 72 wand and I'm just stuck with it forever. Because, well, I mean, I could pay 40 exalts, but I could also just make 2 other builds for 40 exalts, you know?
I have an eye level 3 wand with +1 that I can't replace without spending a huge amount of money.
Eye level 3.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Eye level 3.
Because you take an eye level 2 or 3 wand and you essence it, you get that +1 and you get forced high rolls that it shouldn't have.
Oh.
Yeah.
And you can't,
and then you're just
you can't
rolling
do
with
better than
it
that.
forever.
You can't fossil it better. You can't harvest craft it better. And like my luck with what's been in rituals or on the ground has just been trash. So I've got my essence wand. My only issue, and I think I mentioned this last episode, was that the times that I was trying to craft this actively myself, because this one was traded to me, every single time without fail, if I got a +1, it was not +1 cold, it was +1 lightning, fizz, chaos, or fire. Every single one of them.
The game's trying to tell you to just go to fire, chaos, cold.
Like, no, it's telling me that cold is bad, and I like going into this league, I knew I wanted to play Vortex, and I wanted the cold, I wanted the freeze, I wanted the chill, I want the slow bosses. That's why I made the decision. And the game is like punishing me for it. Yeah. But I mean, I mentioned Harvest, and I sort of think maybe we should circle back. So we were saying before with Ritual, we don't feel pressured to do Ritual. I've heard a lot of sentiment in the community the opposite about Harvest. It was definitely the case when Harvest was the actual challenge league, and now that Harvest mods are on the passive tree for the Atlas, and you can get Harvest missions from Zana, I believe there's quite a huge portion of the community that feels pressured to farm Hayward Hamlet and Zana missions. Are you guys experiencing this kind of pressure, especially being in a trade league where crafting and stuff is important for Muns?
Nope. I don't feel pressured to stay because I choose to stay. I genuinely enjoy hunting for my crafts myself. I don't feel punished by it at all. Like I'm trading what bonuses I get for like in other areas that are arguably more profitable per map for ones that I actively want, which is the harvest mods. I can still progress my Cyrus fights. I can still accumulate splinters for Maven or the crescent splinters for Maven. I can trade my invitations and I can still generate income alongside of the crafts that I don't want. Like if I didn't enjoy harvest, all I would do, because I'm there because I genuinely want to be there. If I didn't enjoy harvest, I just focus on the other areas like Valdos or turns that have like with certain sextant combinations, you just print money, or even just running heists. Like there's so much player agency and opportunity when it comes to generating income in this in game that I feel like you just do what you want and then pay for the crafts if that's what you want. Like the whole implementation of the way the craft trading system in now is like a separate frustration that we can talk about. But as far as, like the decision to choose to stay or not, I think is I don't think there's actual pressure there. I think, if you don't have the money to pay for a craft and say like you need to remove add cold or like an og crit and it's 2x and you don't have 2x and you run Haywork Hamlet a lot and then you get frustrated because you're not getting og crit, like it feels bad. But if you just went to Valdos and farmed up Harmies and sold those ancients, you'd have 2x. Like there's like
I sold my ancient orbs to fund the to fund the amulet that I crafted partially with harvest. So
and I think like the whole argument about like the trade being accessible in the system that it is now, the way that it's reliant on these like Discord stuff, like I think all of that is 100% valid. But this sort of like outcry that it's like you stay in Haywork or you aren't living is or whatever is just silly.
it's a similar argument that I feel like happens almost every league where some people have found the most, lucrative or technically high DPS or whatever, and there becomes this small group of people who are like, this is the way to play the game. And anytime anybody says that, I'm like, no, it's a game. Like, if that's what you want to do, that's great. Yes, it's technically profitable. It's not the correct way to play the game. That doesn't exist.
I love harvest crafting. I do not feel pressured to do harvest crafting because, and this is the only time, I am the only person who's ever going to say this, I feel more pressure to do lab than harvest.
Fair.
I am that crazy person who feels more pressure to run lab than harvest. Because like Noodle said, there's no quote unquote right way to play the game. I'm in the fucking lab. And I'm doing significantly better than a lot of people in my chat.
Right. Like you could, you pull in, it's RNG of course, but I'd say like on an average day running labs and doing helmets, you could probably expect to make 5 to 8x a day. Like, and that's if like most of them are shitty or if you're just doing boots or something like that. Like, I don't know. I feel like I just don't understand whether we have all of this agency and it's still somehow a bad thing. You just choose what you like to do and you'll make money. If it's super juicing a map, then you look up the ways to super juice a map. You roll your custom sextants, you double beyond or fracture farm like your 100% delirious map or whatever, and you do that, and then you just go buy the crafts you need. Or if you like cultivating your items yourself, then you run harvest and you have the idea like the satisfaction that I do. Like my bow is fucking awesome. I did this. I get to smile and tell everyone that I didn't buy it. I made this. And that feels really cool, and that's something that I personally get a lot of satisfaction from.
Or harvest just never gives you the crafts and you're constantly stuck doing it and you just never get it. You have to spend 30 exalt on a jewel because guess what? Chaos res doesn't exist. So, like that's actually the case. I feel harvest is necessary to do even though I don't want to do it, because if I don't do it then I'm spending 30 exalts on a jewel that should be 25C just because of like one thing. Or I could just run with minus 60 chaos res, which I have been, just not comfortable. I do it, but I feel that harvest is absolutely necessary to do, and it's kind of if they made it like an interface where I could easily trade with players crafts, that would be great. That'd be really nice. But
I agree there.
They don't. They don't. I run it myself. Not only do I have rolled my watchstones in a way so that I heard that rolling masters on watchstones can affect your harvest showing up. So I rolled off all my masters. No masters on watchstones. There's I exclusively have been running in 2 areas for harvest. I've run every single Santa. I have buffed Santa. Doesn't matter. Doesn't actually matter. I cannot tell you how many crafts have been absolutely and utterly worthless for me, yet like it's actually very, I find it very mold worthy, and at the same time I feel forced to do it to actually make my, like, to build my characters myself instead of just, yeah, I can run maps, I can make the money and spend the money, but like then like you said, I don't get my own personal satisfaction. And if I literally have ran maps for 2 weeks now searching for harvest, maybe perhaps I should see one chaos fucking resist. Maybe. You know, like maybe if I literally do 4 harvests that have chaos on them and not a single one of them has augment chaos and it's just reforged chaos for 2 weeks now, that's some bullshit. I'm sorry. I'm like, so I'm actually still very moldy about it because like not only have I been playing for over 8 hours on stream, but I play for an additional 5 hours off stream. And that's kind of some bullshit, you know? Like, how long for the average person who doesn't have as much time as me to maybe, if they're lucky, find that craft?
I am the average person. I tell you, I'm not finding anything.
I believe that. I believe it.
I like my harvesting
yeah,
is
it's
like a
just,
YOLO Yahtzee moment. Like I get it. I leave harvest with so much juice on every machine every time because
Yeah.
I don't get a lot. Like there's maybe what at most 6 harvests in the place, so you get 3 of them, and the 3 that I get, like they don't give me stuff that I want. Like it's I have to just not take it seriously, and it's why I'm so reticent to start putting points into harvest for Hamlet or do any of that stuff because I don't want to like start making more of an effort to see this more if it's going to feel this shit.
I don't.
But like
I
more
don't know.
often.
I think that a lot of the mentality though too is that harvest was created for a timeline, and that's a timeline that people are used to having had it been implemented core once before, and us having the access to that power on that timeline, and with that abundance, that we sort of kind of almost force ourselves to want it on that same timeline, like that we must have by like this time this gear. And I've found myself using harvest and being very happy for harvest for all sorts of things. Whether it's like I will, when I'm trying to craft an item for my build, I craft multiple copies of that item because I usually will hit something nice, and then I start the backup one in case I don't get what I'm looking for, or maybe I went ES with like chaos res on it for this other build, and you like. I like having the project tab, and I like having all of the extra currency that I don't have to spend otherwise. It's free Horizons Orb, it's free map rolling contents, it's free jewel making. You can do your clusters on it very easily, not easily, but it's free things to throw at clusters. Like there's this one combination of cluster that I've been printing for like 300 chaos a sale just by using my life rerolls. And there's like all of these little things that you can do with harvest that if you're focused in on like I'm not getting this one enchant, harvest can be exceedingly frustrating. But if you embrace harvest for pretty much like multiple concurrent projects or rolling things per profit, it opens up so much more. And like we aren't like the goal of game design is to make us play for longer. And so
Yeah.
being angry that harvest isn't giving you your item by week 1 or week 2 is like intentional. That's why they limited the amount of craft slots that we have for us to make these purposeful decisions on what we're going to save, what we're going to take the gamble on, and so on. And
Well,
so I don't know. I
perhaps if you're a more casual player though, because like maybe 1 or 2 weeks, but if I'm literally putting in 12 hours a day every day for 2 weeks
but my argument is that you
to
did
not
that
see
just fine
one
before
craft.
harvest was ever a league with gear that was
Well, yeah,
objectively
I
worse.
dealt with it before harvest was ever a league, but that's besides the point. It's not about that. It's about the amount of time spent for the lackluster rewards, but it's so beneficial to do harvest in the first place that you do harvest even if you don't want to, because the possibility of getting something for your build is too good to give up. And that is insanely frustrating to me, is that, like, if I'm putting in 12 plus hours a day, 14 days, and I'm not seeing a single, not even just the chaos craft, by the way, I need attack, I need life, I need a lot of other crafts. Not a single craft of that thing. It's kind of bullshit. It's just kind of bullshit to me. Like, it should be rare. I do agree. They're exalts, they're targeted and alls. They should definitely have rarity, without a doubt. But unless my range is just utter trash, then it should never be where I'm putting in 12 hours, 14 days worth of work and have not found a single goddamn craft that I need. Like, with trying to force it in everything.
I think they're trying to prevent
I think we're
people
gonna butt
from
heads.
having complete access to these, exalt and annuls and all those. I actually think it's kind of good that they're not just always available, because then we'd have the same problem we did with Harvest itself, where everything is just way too OP and everybody's crafting insane things, multiple insane things. And I kind of like that there's a chase. Like, yeah, I'm frustrated as well that I've been working on this staff for multiple weeks and I'm, maybe not doing 12 hours, but I'm doing like 4 to 8 hours a day, and I haven't found a single remove attack. But there have been other things that I've crafted because I've diversified the things that I'm crafting. And I think that if you look at an item and say, I should be able to get this craft because Harvest exists, I think that's the same problem we initially had with Harvest, where there was too much stuff you could just easily get and it was super overpowered. I think that there is the potential for that, but it is still a chase. It has to be a chase, otherwise we're just going to have the same. I mean, God, I'm happy if I even see a grove. I feel like I've put all my points into getting groves. I have Haywork Hamlet with, Xana additional mission options. Like, I have all that, and it still feels like a chase even to get the grove. And I understand why it has to be that rare. Like, I personally think it's appropriate. Now, of course, the obvious solution is there has to be a way to trade the crafts. If you're going to limit us to 10 crafts, there has to be a way in game to trade the crafts. It's the only thing that makes sense. Why limit us if we can't trade them? I think we could all agree that is like that's the reason it's frustrating, right? Because you could get something that's going to be perfect for someone else's item, but you're not going to save that just in case. Like, you only have 10 spots. So that's the real issue, I think.
That was going to be my sort of like next question while you were talking, Noodle. I was thinking like, okay, the amount of crafts is it's based on how often you come across Harvest, how much you can juice Harvest itself based on other nodes, etc. How many individual plots you can have within a map. And then once you've done all of that, you're limited to the RNG that's rolled on it, and then your 10 spots, or whoever can respond to you the fastest at the time that you find it. If you're in a trade league and you're using a Discord or something, TFT or whatever. And there's probably other levers they could have factored into how they did this, but
it's still not good for anybody who's like SSF at all. I mean, SSF, they have implemented a lot that could help them, but I mean, things like that, it's not gonna help them.
You can't store, you can't store, like, if you're trying to plan a build in advance, and then you're still working on stuff with that build, you can't store crafts in advance. You prioritize.
You have
multiple. You have to prioritize.
You just have multiple ongoing like crafting projects. So if you know you're gonna roll an energy shield, you get
but if I only craft for myself, if I literally only craft for myself and my 2 other builds, that, like, this is how, for me personally, I craft for myself what I need. I usually get duds if I'm making fossils. Harvest isn't like that because I'm working on the very item that I have. I don't really have extra items to do a lot within Harvest other than maybe add an influence here, maybe just try to spam it with some life rolls and see if it rolls anything exciting, belts, etc. But generally, I'm just crafting. Like, I have this belt, this dexterity belt that I need remove defense. I have a remove colds, remove attacks. I just need these things gone so I can actually start working on the belt. No, none of them are showing up. Guess what? You try to re-roll and keep your suffixes. Oh, it's still the same shit that you need to remove. Oh, and you haven't found them again in 2 weeks because the game just doesn't want to give you anything that you actually need, even though you play for 12 plus hours a day, which is kind of insane.
It's a really salty moment in the podcast. I'm gonna call it out.
I don't know, and I think to sort of bridge the gap, at least, I think if you go in with the mentality that Harvest is just basically there for a lot of ongoing projects and free currency for things like rolling maps and jewels and otherwise that you just burn your rerolls on, and like are pleasantly surprised as you make things here and there. Like if you get a life res jewel, you can throw a Valorb on it. Maybe you get your corrupting blood jewel that you can use across 3 different builds or something like that. But I think as far as getting people to like it more, like what we said before, is that it needs to be better implemented. I would like to see the harvest benches themselves indexed on PoE's trade site with the ability to list actual prices. And I think the best implementation moving forward for trading crafts for a trade league would be that would sort of straddle the divide between like their stance on trading and like what we want as quality of life would be to more or less like create another trade window. It would like so I hate to like compare it to World of Warcraft, but it really is just like World of Warcraft. If we
The
mimic the
enchant
trade
window.
window in World of Warcraft, for players who haven't played WoW, the trade window isn't unlike our own, where there's slots to trade items back and forth with a double confirm accept. But where it differs is that there's this little secondary window on the bottom of it with an items will not be traded conditional. And if you like, almost like crafting, there's something called enchanting in the game where if you want an enchanter to add a craft to your gloves or an enchant to your gloves, you put the glove in the window and they click something where they've applied an enchant and then you do the double confirm trade. It uses their inventory or their materials and you get your enchant and the gloves never leave your inventory.
Oh,
And I don't
that's
think this
so
needs to
clever.
necessarily exist as something that's like implemented in our trade window, but I think it should be a separate UI that's prompted by the object that's being interacted with. So like I think it should be something that's universal across the crafting bench, the harvest bench, the upgrade altar, the corruption altar, the gym one. Like it should be something that you click, both of you can click, one person can like they can slide their item in. You can like say what you're going to do for it and then there's still a double confirm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be one thing, but I just find it funny getting Pat to actually do something or Triple G to do something with their trade. Did you see how broken it's been the entire league, including Xbox having to be re-rolled back or something?
They had
just
to go back
yesterday?
to the patch because there was like
Yeah.
some serious exploits in the most recent one.
I mean, dude, the trade in this game at this point, do you know to look for reduced mana reserve, you have to look for increased mana reserve?
Yeah.
Why is it
Funny.
labeled different? Why isn't it labeled the same thing in the game?
Yeah,
You
there's a
know? Like,
lot of old bones and a lot of spaghetti code that has to kind of
yeah,
be cleaned up. And the API getting
yeah,
slammed the way
exactly.
it did, hopefully they are
So
on it.
I just don't think we're gonna get any kind of thing until Poe 2 because at this point, like the trade is struggling to survive right now. I feel its very soul is being crushed by the weight of 11% more people. You know, like, it just can't take the weight of them.
Oh, that's a bit too funny.
I hope that's not
I don't
true,
know.
but
I
think
think
you're onto something.
it's easy to giggle at 11%, but when 11% is like they're 15 to 20,000 people all with
It's a
awakened
lot.
paid trade that are
It's
going
a
to be
lot.
indexing their 50 fucking stash tabs every second
Yeah.
they open their stash. Like
Exactly.
it's easy to giggle, but when it's an archaic system that's
lot.
outdated by a decade, it's very easy for it to get overloaded.
Mm-hmm. Oh, big time. I mean, and this is I feel no offense, Triple G, but I feel like this is archaic system that's been built on top of over time, but the foundation is still from like the 1500s, you know, like it's just on those old wooden sticks trying to hold it up, which is standard, by the way. The sticks like, come on, you know, just holding up
Like
the weight of everything
shaking.
else that was built on top, which is yeah, exactly. It's trying like, oh my god, this is a lot. Very cool new systems, by the way, but the foundation, I don't know. I know they said that they've updated the codes and things over time, but you know.
Yeah, well, I mean, the biggest change that they were trying to install most recently was text to streaming, and that kind of overturned that one. Like, it's great to see them trying to make the game run on systems that, you know, contemporary games are designed on, but every time it's such a painful learning curve for them too.
I think a lot of it comes down to they also started with their very own engine. They didn't build PoE
Yeah.
on anything but their own stuff. And so bringing that into the next generation will always be difficult because it's like going back and picking apart what was before to bring it up to date and then how to do that like in an optimized way. He's like what they're
Yeah.
doing is they're preparing, even though it's like been hellish for some people with the crashes and the missing textures and everything like that, like it's a struggle, but it's going to hopefully allow more people to play PoE. People that have like potato computers and everything like that, and that's like not a bad thing for PoE. But to do that while simultaneously developing a league, while simultaneously developing an expansion, while trying to update their engine, while also trying to update their all the other archaic dinosaurs that they need to update. Like I'm not saying small indie company here, but they've got a lot on their plate.
Yeah.
Making a
They've
second
got
game.
a pretty huge stack of work to do.
A whole other game, you're right, by the way. Just, you know.
But I think it's cool. I think like seeing some of these optimizations happen ahead of time honestly just make me more excited for PoE too. Especially when like now there's all these new like map textures and everything in the game, like and how good they look by contrast to like these, you know, like crappy map textures that we've been looking at for 8 years for some of you. I mean, it's got to be cool.
Oh,
See
I love the
PoE
memes.
reimagined.
The memes in PoE Reddit where like you can see the different ways that the textures looked over time, and then with the new texture streaming before the most recent patch, everything just looked like soup and big squares. But like I didn't know what it looked like in closed beta, where it was just like, you know, like like legit little tiles, like a cobblestone street kind of tile texture. How that's changed over time. Like when you consider what I guess the same kind of cobblestone element looks like in Oriath versus what that concept was more than 10 years ago it was great for me because I'm still such a newcomer to this game even like 4 years later.
No, you're not, ma'am. You're 4 years in now. You're a veteran player.
Look, my only claim to fame is that I lived through pre 3.0. I know what it was like without Oriath at all.
That's
I do recall the repeating of the
That's
axe, and
pretty
so
big
does
deal.
Noodle, so do most of us here.
That's
most
all
of
that
us,
matters.
I assume most of us here did live in the age of no currency tab, right?
No,
No,
I'm a
I think I got
3.0
it.
baby.
Yes.
Oh god, am I the only person who had lived in the age of no currency tabs?
Belle would have.
No, I also had no currency.
Okay,
No
yeah,
currency, no
the
map tabs.
the dedicated tab to
No.
alterations. The dedicated tab
The
to
whole- yeah.
top half is fusing, bottom half is chaos. There's Exalt somewhere in there. Yeah.
When was currency
I
tab
used to do it from
introduced?
like top down. I don't know. It was the greatest quality of life feature they ever added, with maps being second. I used to have 3 tabs for currency because I was generally very poor. I was, back then I was very poor, and a lot of it was like I could only keep so many. I could only keep like 150 whetstones and then like 200 of the other ones because after that it was too much and I needed jeweler spots and it was just stupid. It was like man, those tabs have been the greatest thing.
I just remember the fact that I actually had a wisdom scroll tab.
Oh no.
No,
I
that
was
was
helping
that
a
was
new
a thing.
player.
Dark time.
That
I
was a
was
thing.
helping a new
Oh.
player and he was screen sharing his his starter 4 tabs, and he had like a currency section in his first tab, and then on his 4th tab he just had wisdom scrolls. And then I was like, if we go back to your currency tab, are there wisdom scrolls there? Should they not be in the same place? Yeah. It's kind of it's crazy when you think that somebody else has to like manage that internally if they don't already have the like tabs in there themselves. I think they bought their own tab by now. Actually, they're now using that. But yeah, it was a massive flashback to when I first started playing, because yeah, I remember the advice from being like, if you're gonna pay for anything in this game, the first thing you buy is a currency tab.
Yeah, same. That was what I was told.
So
Actually,
I'm
I got the div card tab first, though. I think I got both, but like, I don't know why. I feel like someone was like, "Oh yeah, it's super important." It's probably because I had a stash tab full of div cards, and it probably bothered them.
I think
Yeah, no, that's actually exactly why they were just like, "This is I can't look at that. Get the tab."
I think I had only map tab and currency tab, and then just a bunch of premium tabs. It took me ages to like bring myself to buy a frag tab, a div tab. Essence was maybe last, I think.
I'm having a minor meltdown thinking about all the tabs I would need to manage the stuff we get today if we didn't have the quality of life tabs.
That's
I have a stack of 5,000 jewelers right now.
Nice.
That'd be I would need like 4 tabs to contain all that or something. It's like, oh god, we have so much stuff drops nowadays.
The adjustment, because I didn't play much last league, and that was when the affinities were introduced, and I'm still kind of mentally adjusting to not like I still manually go and change tabs a lot. It have to like think about it and not do it.
Yeah.
Change is hard.
It is. It takes a while to get used to.
I know it's a good thing. I'm just not there yet, you know? Like my brain knows, but my hands don't, kind of thing.
The muscle memory's taking over.
Autopilot.
Yeah. That's they used to have to play with a macro for out of sync back when they didn't have lockstep.
Oh,
and
I still have to
that?
use that.
Remember that? It was terrible.
I actually legit still have to use that.
What? Wait, you still use predictive?
I'm on Wi-Fi. I can't play lockstep.
Oh my god.
Even if my ping is 30, it's 30 sometimes. Every now and then it's gonna spike up and I'm gonna freeze with lockstep.
Oh no.
So I have to play predictive.
Oh my god.
Wow. The things Suit does for us.
That's for my
do lab.
I know, that's crazy. Having to get OS.
Listen, I've done lab notes when Comcast is in full effect and my ping is jumping between 70 and 700. I can tell you the amount of desync that happens. It would be unplayable with lockstep.
Oh, I have a question. Has there ever been a time with like a lab notes that you have been like particularly late and then experienced some kind of backlash because of it?
Yes. This is actually kind of funny. Well, this happened relatively recently. Christmas. My internet died the night before. I did the lab notes on the 24th. Christmas Day, my internet was still out. By the time the lab notes were rolling back, my internet hadn't been fixed, so I had to diagnose internet problems Christmas Day, fixed it.
Oh my god.
Ran the lab late, but the thing that upset people was the fact that because I had to do something with my internet, I couldn't properly upload the images or the compass file to PoLab, so I had to do a weird workaround. but I couldn't upload the compass file at all until the next day. People were furious with the fact that on Christmas Day I could not upload the compass file.
And it wasn't because you were like spending time with family, it was just like a technical issue.
It was a technical issue with my internet dying, me having to switch around some settings.
On Christmas Day.
It was one of those moments of I hate that it's always all the bad comments stuck in my head. Someone comments on Christmas Day, "Hey, can someone re-upload the image to another place so I can use it there?"
Yeah.
I was like, "You're gonna comment that on this site? You're gonna put that comment on
Oh,
this
what the
site for someone to
hell,
download
dude?
and put it somewhere else? You serious?"
That's so rude.
That's pretty rude.
I love
I
have to
I
point
had
out
someone
how
call
I
me-
asked this question because it's not a question of whether there's been backlash. That is assumed, but it's sad that this completely voluntary service is not able to be 365. You know.
I had someone ask me why the lab notes were not updated when the servers were down. That was fun.
You're like, the game isn't there right now.
Are you planning on running lab while there's no server to run lab?
Yeah. No, I was legitimately streaming, and it was the whole Rome was currently down for maintenance on screen, and someone's like,
that
"Hey, why aren't the lab
30-minute
notes up?"
maintenance that we had like day 2?
This was like a year or two ago.
Oh, okay.
Or something.
Different one.
But it was like I had the whole Rome is under maintenance on screen, and someone in my chat's like, "Hey, why aren't the lab notes updated?" I just went, "Look at the screen."
I'll just check with GGG real quick.
I expect you to be in on their local game suit so you can run their lab. Okay?
Yeah, running it on their
You can
local
get in on
server.
their local host.
This always leads to the funny thing that this happens every league where someone realizes like, wait, the lab notes aren't data mined. It's not a bot that does those.
No.
That is, yeah. I still get comments about that. I still get comments about that.
POEDB could will eventually be able to data mine that stuff in.
Funny thing, there was a very short period where we were able to pseudo data mine the lab notes because the client txt file actually exported a code of line that would let us predetermine the room layout. But GGG removed that because they thought that was too automated. It was too dangerous to be able to look through just the client text file and find out what the lab looks like. So they removed that code.
Do you think?
Wow.
I know that they said at one point one of the reasons I think it was Chris that said is it Chris or somebody said that keeping lab was a good way to stop bots because they can't run through, they can't go through lab. They're bots.
I
They're
have no idea.
so maybe that line would have allowed them to get through lab, right? They're like, no, we can't have that. But yeah, I think they said that was like a bot deterrent, which is why we see a bunch of unascended witches sitting in the easiest to get hideout. Yeah.
I'm gonna.
Which one is Tora's hideout?
Okay, I think we've been going for a little while now, and it's probably long enough for the podcast. I don't know if there's anything else that we can really cover without adding another hour on and bleeding into most people's sleep schedules. So I think we'll leave it at that. If anyone has any last thoughts that want to put out or final questions for Suit, now will probably be the time.
Suit, you're the best. Thank you so much for the work you do for PoLab and for blessing us with your amazing cosplays.
Mm-hmm.
Truly freaking blessed. That's my question. It's not a question.
Yeah, respond. Please respond.
Thank you. Thank you, Noodle. I actually have, because of my school schedule, I do have a cosplay queue for some chat requests. I'm curious if there's a beta expectations request for a character. Now, this is a very long timeline because I have the queue and I have school, but I'm morbidly curious.
We make it long enough timeline that the next time you get to come on the podcast, you're wearing the cosplay.
I mean, that's up to you. Whenever I get around to making it,
You could do Solaris or Lunaris.
I have a complication with that.
True.
There's a minor complication with that. I
What?
don't have a chest.
I think
We
you
can-
would be a badass
Have
sister
you
of battle
seen
from 40K.
boobs for drag queens?
Sister of Battle from
Wait.
40K. I'm gonna
Who from
Google
40K?
this.
There's
Is this-
a unit called the Sisters of Battle. I can't remember they have like a Latin name, but the Sisters of Battle, like that one is almost like you wouldn't. There's not as much skin, but it would also be an opportunity to learn armor.
I actually have been referencing Sister of Battle armor to try to plan out a Cassia armor.
Makes sense.
Oh
Yes,
yeah,
Sisters of
yeah.
Battle are. That's my favorite unit in the game.
Yeah.
I have like drawers of minis from 40K that I've painted, and like those are the ones that are actually on the shelf.
I could do Sister of Battle.
I was thinking specifically path, piety. There's so many different versions. You could do weird eyeball piety with weird little side tentacles. You could do, I don't know what those are. Are they her hands? Like I don't. Why did the camera do
She's
this again?
become a hand.
Ooh, okay. Yeah, like there's it wouldn't be the. She was the first one I thought of because piety is tainted in my brain forever, and I kind of want to see her again, even though I know she died. Just want to see her again. It's been a long time.
I need GG to send me 3D renders. I need help.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's difficult to
They
work with low
should just
poly
send that.
screenshots and concept art.
Mhm.
I reserve the right for my answer until my brain is not thinking about everything else outside
It
of.
was Piety,
really.
a Sister of Battle. Noodle, what was yours?
Solaris and Lunaris.
Solaris.
Actually,
for that.
I'm going you one step further. You can do like a TikTok style video where you have both you as Lunaris and you as Solaris in the same video. That'd be crazy.
That would be so cool.
Yeah, I think what I would like, less so what specific cosplay, but maybe at some point like a Patreon or something, enough for you to do a proper photo shoot with someone.
Yeah, that's something I've definitely thought about. I don't know how I'd approach doing a Patreon, considering I'm still in that point where I don't think I've done some nice cosplays, but I still, looking at a lot that everyone else has done, it's like I still feel like I need to do. I haven't hit my stride big enough to actually start a Patreon at this point. I don't know if anyone.
If you're creating any
I don't think
content,
you-
it's worth.
Yeah, I
trying.
mean, like my videos aren't that big, but I have a Patreon just in case there's people, and like you can grow from there. I guess if you feel like you are obligated to have some kind of rewards, that would be like an extra thing for you. That would be like too difficult. But I honestly think that it's just basically,
It's kind of like asking
another
people to sub
platform
on
to be
Twitch.
supported. You don't have to have like a certain level of accomplishment before you give people that avenue to say, "Hey, we love you. Shut up and take my money." Like,
I guess there's a quality level I would like to be as a baseline for myself before I start, I guess, advertising it more. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean,
Well, I think you're
conversely, you could also consider that the Patreon would also help. Is there like any kind of donate or Patreon element to Pee Wee Lab? Like, there's plenty of services that are being offered that have a donation or Patreon attached to them.
This is kind of interesting. PullUp does have a Patreon. The primary reward is to go ad free for $2. No, very few people have actually used that.
More people should look at that.
To be fair, I didn't know you guys had a Patreon. Maybe it's just because you kind of go in and
Can we get a link in the chat?
get out of there. But yeah, maybe we should get a link for that.
There should be just Patreon / Pee Wee Lab.
Lab? Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, patreon.com /
right
Pee Wee
now.
Lab. Yep, I may have to ping everyone to make sure that they're ready to get it influxed, because there's a whole process to implement that ad-free thing, considering
Yeah.
the systems.
Yeah, or you could just go to poelab.com and find it there.
Yep,
Anyway.
there's a button.
There will be links in the descriptions of the videos and probably the audio of like UE Lab, Suits channel, and we might grab a little paste of your POB for your lab runner as well, Suit.
Yeah.
Because people were asking.
Yeah.
I think that's everything that we have for today. So thank you so much for coming onto the show, Suit. It's been wonderful to have you as our guest. And thank you to
Thank you for
Noodle and
inviting me.
Velyna and Brittleknee for hosting again. Thanks to everyone for watching and listening all the way to the end. I guess we got you hook, line, and sinker. And that's all we have for today. Bye.